Each and every year, the U.S. Army All-American Bowl delivers the best of the best. #1 player in the nation, Martez Ivey. The man behind the mask is son of former NFL great Reggie McKenzie. Khalil is the top defensive tackle in the land. We'll also have 9 live declarations today. Marvell Tell will tell you where he'll play in college. DeAndre Walker, where will he take his talents and his smile? Some school in the SEC. We'll find out today. The U.S. Army All-American Bowl, an annual tradition for the nation's top-ranked high school football stars. It's helped springboard the careers of many NFL greats, like LaShawn McCoy, DeMarco Murray,
juking and faking and scoring.
Patrick Peterson.
Intercepted by Peterson at the 20.
Deshaun Jackson.
Going deep, and he's got him.
And Ndamukong Suh.
And then he got hit hard. And Ndamukong Suh.
Jamal Charles.
Angling for the far right pylon. Touchdown!
Andrew Luck.
He's going to take it himself. He's going to bootleg it and score.
And Odell Beckham Jr.
Absolutely impossible what he just did.
Now a new class of America's best step onto the field to showcase their talents in the spotlight. They hail from all over the country and have come together to hone their skills and make their name a household one.
Nation, I hope you're ready. Grab your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen.
This is my time.
My time. This is the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
Each one ready to turn their Friday playing days into Saturdays. And some will declare their intent to the schools to which they've been heavily recruited.
Today, I make my decision. Watch me make my college selection.
I'm going to pick one of these schools. Stay tuned. Don't touch that remote.
I am a warrior and a member of a team.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I am disciplined.
I'm physically and mentally tough.
My name is Martez Ivey.
Khalil McKenzie.
Chris Warren. Drew Lock, and I am
a U.S. Army All-American.
Somewhere between high school stardom and college potential is where we find 90 of the very best high school seniors ready to display those talents on the field here inside the Alamo Dome in the annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. In moments, they'll be on that field. Right now, they're inside the locker rooms getting ready to compete.
When you wear the United States Army logo, you represent each and every one of them who represent us and enable us to do these kinds of things. Like go out here, play football with a bunch of our buddies and win for the nation.
Be proud of who you are. Be proud of who you are representing. Be proud of what you're going to do in the future. You will make a difference. I do it in the Army. You're going to do it in whatever you choose to do as a student athlete in college and whatever happens after that. But be proud.
And we are certainly proud to have you along with us. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Paul Burmeister. Anthony Herron and Ross Tucker will be with me momentarily. The next 3 hours, really an exciting glimpse into the future for the players and all of us as fans. The players so talented in high school for the very first time today. Those talents will find their equal on the field. We'll see how they line up. They will see how they match up. And as fans, we get a glimpse, a little peek as to what they'll look like on college campuses for the next 4 years. Of course, we have the exciting 9 declarations. These players will let us know on live TV in the next 3 hours where they will play college football and go to school. As promised, joining me, former NFL players Anthony Herron and Ross Tucker. Such an exciting time for these players. It's been almost 20 years, Anthony, but I know you can still remember what it was like to go through this process.
Well, it was good talking to some of the parents and some of the players. It did remind me of a few things since it's been so long, Paul. The main thing that occurs to me, Ross, is just how much pressure is on the kids, and it seems like season by season, even more pressure from schools to get guys to commit early.
Yeah, I mean, back in 1997, around this time, I hadn't even taken an official visit yet, so I had no idea where I was going to go. Most of these guys have been committed for months, if not a couple years.
Oh. They have official visits at Princeton, is what you're saying?
They did. They did in the Ivy League. Thanks, Paul.
Yes. Brady White took some official visits. He decided to take his quarterback skills to Arizona State University. In fact, he'll go there in 10 days to begin the competition to try and replace Taylor Kelly, the leading starting quarterback for the Sun Devils. Threw for over 10,000 yards just outside of Los Angeles. We get to watch him for the next 3 hours today.
Well, Paul, my favorite player on the field today is the #1 defensive tackle in the country, Khalil McKenzie, son of Oakland Raiders general manager Reggie McKenzie. Hasn't actually played football during his senior season, but he came here this week feeling like he had something to prove. We're seeing film from his junior season there. He's put on a few pounds since then, actually had a knee injury, but the most powerful defensive tackle in the entire country, to me, Khalil McKenzie, is going to be a player to watch on the field. Now let's take it down to the field. Lewis Johnson is with Khalil McKenzie.
All right, down here with the #1 defensive tackle in the country, who says he slimmed down to 339 before this game. So as all the attention has been on you all week, what has the week been like for you with all these young men?
I mean, it's been an amazing week being around all these All-American guys. I mean, it's been really cool. I mean, you get to meet a lot of them. A lot of them you'll see in college, some of them you'll play with, and hopefully you get some to sign with this school. So it's been a lot of fun.
A lot of guys still under pressure in terms of declaring where they're going to go play. You've already said it's going to be Tennessee, where your dad, Reggie McKenzie, played. Did he have any influence on that decision?
No, my dad was pretty hands-off with the whole recruitment process, just wanted me to go to the best place for me, and I landed at the University of Tennessee with the greatest fans in the nation, the greatest coach in the nation. I mean, the greatest tradition in the nation. I love that place.
We look forward to seeing you play today, and good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Paul, man, I feel like a shrimp here. It's unbelievable. Are you sure it's only 339?
Yes, sir.
Back up to you.
Yeah, Tennessee collecting its share of talent from the field here today, but you know who's doing it best, and it should be no surprise after what we saw a couple nights ago. The Ohio State Buckeyes have 7 commits, and who knows, maybe they'll collect a couple more in the 9 declaring today. But believe it or not, a quarterback has selected to go play on that campus. Already they have Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, and the tremendous talents we've seen the last 2 games of Cardell Jones. But Terrence Gibson from American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida, he too is going to join the crowd there and play quarterback at Ohio State.
Well, no surprise, Paul, that you want to talk about quarterbacks. Let's talk about the real glory position now. Martez Ivey, that is what a prototypical left tackle looks like. You see the leg drive. He has crazy long arms. Watch how athletic he is, driving around, getting a knockdown block, really big hands. He's exactly what you're looking for in a future first-round pick. Look how long his arms are. That's why he's the #1 player in the country. He will ultimately choose between Florida and Auburn.
We are excited to have the insights of 24/7 Sports Director of Scouting, Barton Simmons, throughout the broadcast. Barton, good to have you along. Come on in.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You know, today you're going to have a look at some of the best players in the country, and you're going to see some decisions made this afternoon. Several big-time programs in the mix for some major commitments. In fact, we could have a couple programs getting multiple commitments today. In the top 10, the national recruiting rankings on 24/7 Sports, you look right there at Texas, USC, Tennessee, 3 programs that could have multiple commitments this afternoon. Marty?
Well, Barton, we'll see if Marvell Tell will move those team rankings at all. He's the #3 safety in all the land. And Marvell, you told us something cool yesterday. You said you've had your eye on this game since the 8th grade. Why is this game so special to you?
Man, I just love competing with the best, and ever since, before entering high school, this has been a goal of mine, and I've worked toward it, and I'm here reaping the benefits.
You're down to Texas, USC, and Oregon. We will hear your commitment later on today. What's this recruiting process been like for you, and can you describe for the folks at home what all has gone into this moment?
Man, a lot of hard work, dedication, but at the end of the day, I still had fun with it, and I'm glad I got to experience it.
Well, Paul, wherever he goes, he'll be a kinesiology major, and as I said, we will find out shortly where Marvell Tell will go to college.
1 of 9 who's going to let us know throughout the broadcast where he is going to go to school and play football. Here are your rules. 12-minute quarters, and as you can see, a couple of limitations on the defense. They can't bring an extra rusher, and they have to play that 4-3 alignments, and we like it when life is a little bit easier for those quarterbacks, guys.
Boo on that. Boo on making life easy on QBs.
No, I actually like that because I want to see some one-on-one pass protection from these offensive linemen against the defensive linemen. I don't want it to be about scheme. I want it to be about talent.
East team is kicking off and back for the West. Number 43 is Xavier Lewis. And he will not get a chance to bring that one out. So the West team, as we talked about earlier, so talented at quarterback in the Los Angeles area. All 3 quarterbacks here from the greater Los Angeles area. And on the East team, they even have one as well. Sam Darnold from San Clemente, about an hour south of L.A.
It'll be an interesting storyline to watch play out between Sam Darnold and the West quarterback Ricky Town, both going to USC.
So Brady White is the quarterback in first, selected Arizona State back in May, going to begin classes and his quest to become the Sun Devils starting quarterback a week from Monday. And the tailback behind him, Darius Geis, and also Mike Weber, couple of running backs.
On the interior of that defensive line, number 78, Trent Thompson, defensive tackle, one of the best in the nation as well.
And White throwing in rhythm, and it's no surprise at all to see him going to Trent Irwin, his wide receiver in high school at Santa Clarita Hart High School. Trent, pretty good hookup there for Brady. He went on to become the leading receiver in the history of high school football in California for receptions and yards. Caught 285 balls for over 5,200 yards. And Brady is trying to talk him into joining him in Tempe, but he's also considering Stanford. Said he has no timetable, but it is down between the Cardinal and the Sun Devils. Running back is Mike Weber up the middle. Interesting story on Mike Weber. Initially out of Cass Tech in Detroit, committed to Michigan. Didn't like the uncertainty with the coaching position, so he committed to Ohio State in mid-December. Well, now there's plenty of certainty and a lot of excitement at the coaching position in Ann Arbor. So Jim Harbaugh, within 24 hours of taking that job, was in touch with Mike's family.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if that's one of the key targets that Jim Harbaugh is going to try to flip before signing day. They only have 6 commits. They got to get at least 10 more guys in there.
Down. Set.
As you can hear, Brady White mic'd up for sound, flushing out to his right. And has the completion, but that'll be short of a first down. KJ Hill with the reception there out of North Little Rock, and he's going to join Brett Bielema and what he's building there at Arkansas for the next 4 years.
Early advantage to the defense, as expected in these all-star settings, even though so many of the rules against the defense in this game.
So the West team on offense goes 3 and out, punting it away to the east. And that's Tim Irvin, the nephew of NFL Hall of Famer Michael Irvin, who will announce his intentions on where he'll play and go to school coming up here throughout the broadcast. Gets his day started off very well. 50-yard punts and a return of 35 yards. U.S. Army All-American Bowl, we've been playing this since 2000. Derek Johnson, Derek Anderson played in that game, and as you can see, all kinds of talent has come through San Antonio on the way from high school to campus on offense and defense. Odell Beckham Jr., before he made that big catch that went for over 1,300 yards in only 12 games, he played here as well. A lot of the names you're seeing here today, you'll be watching for the next 4 years. Urban, nice job on that return there. And headed to Ohio State, the lefty, Torrance Gibson. Nice job making a play there. Little flip to Chandler Cox, the running back, who's on his way to Auburn.
That looks familiar, doesn't it? An Ohio State quarterback running around and making a play with his feet and then his arm. How many guys did we see do that this year? They're not done yet.
The Torrance, the youngest of 6 children, and he's going to be the youngest of 6 scholarship quarterbacks in Columbus this coming fall. That includes 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, and Cardell Jones, who's looked terrific in his only 2 starts of the season. As you can hear, quarterbacks are mic'd up today. Let's take a quick listen.
Queen left. Florida, Florida, Florida. Florida, Viking, Viking, Viking. No, Viking fire, Viking fire, Viking fire.
That's Torrance Gibson out of American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida. Timeout taken by the West Side. And coming up out of the break, we'll have our very first declaration. Kyle Phillips, defensive lineman out of Hillsborough High School in Nashville, Tennessee. Going to let you know where he'll be smiling on campus this fall.
My name is Kyle Phillips. I play defensive end from Nashville, Tennessee. The decision is here, friends and family. Coming up next, live on NBC. Yeah.
Kyle Phillips, defensive lineman out of Hillsborough High School in Nashville, Tennessee, ready to let us know where he's going to play college football. Marty Snyder, take it away.
Paul, our first declaration of the day, and Kyle's speed off the edge on the defensive line has been described as, quote, unfair. We have mom Teresa here, we have brother Michael, we have sister Tisa right here as well, and you're down to LSU, Ole Miss in Tennessee. Who's it going to be, Kyle?
I'll be attending Jaga. Pick up that orange hat. University of Tennessee.
The University of Tennessee. Mom Teresa is the athletic director at Tennessee State. She had a lot of influence in this decision. Let's talk about this. For a long time, Kyle, it looked like Ole Miss was the leader. LSU was creeping in. Why Tennessee?
I just felt at home at Tennessee. I loved it since I've been there. My family enjoyed it. It's perfect for my family and me, so that's why I picked Tennessee. How
about Butch Jones? A bowl win. Now he gets Kyle Phillips. And the best part about this, Paul, nobody in this crowd knew except Mom. She was the only one who knew before he picked up the hat.
And Mom knows a lot about college athletics. As you mentioned, the athletic director at Tennessee State. 22 and a half tackles for loss as a senior for Kyle at Hillsborough High School, including 13 sacks. Says he likes the experience and the feel at Tennessee, and he loves the fact. 3-hour drive from Nashville to Knoxville, so he's getting away from home, but not too far from home. Kyle Phillips going to play football at Tennessee.
And Paul, he has such a terrific frame, and I really appreciated getting the chance to talk to him yesterday. The one thing he said that really meant a lot was that he would not pick a school based on the coaches. I wish more kids felt that way.
Torrance Gibson sets up the screen, and a successful screen it is to Jordan Scarlett. Tailback from Fort Lauderdale, who's on his way to Miami. Martin Simmons.
Yeah, guys, with the week Kyle Phillips had at the Army practices this week, he's going to be the #1 player in the state of Tennessee on 24/7 Sports, and that's 2 consecutive years that Butch Jones has gotten the top player in the state from the state of Tennessee. And really, he earned this one. Butch Jones did. He took on to Kyle's recruitment personally. Kyle told me Butch Jones was his best relationship on the Tennessee staff.
Tennessee finishing the season on a high note with an easy victory over the Iowa Hawkeyes, painful as it is for Anthony and I to say, but hey, the Volunteers look pretty good.
By the way, how about that defensive front seven right now for Tennessee? You're bringing in Kyle Phillips and Khalil McKenzie just on the defensive line. Then you've got linebacker Darren Kirkland from Indiana, who's also playing in this game on the west side. Tennessee's building something in the front seven on defense.
Torrance Gibson has that one knocked down, the lefty out of Plantation, Florida, on his way to being Ohio State Buckeye. And he couldn't emphasize enough to us how important it was that Ohio State promised him he would be a quarterback. He wouldn't have a bad couple of days or couple of weeks, and they'd talk to him about moving to another position. He says, I'm a quarterback and a quarterback only. Biggest reason why he wanted to go to Ohio State.
The athletes on the field so versatile, people playing wide receiver and defensive back, quarterbacks, and we already talked earlier about Deion Kane moving the wide receiver. You see the decision-making process that has to be done.
You can see how easily he turned those shoulders rolling out. Not easy for a lefty rolling to his right like that. And fires a completion to Jawan Johnson, who will play at Penn State.
Jawan Johnson's been pretty impressive this week. 6'4", 215 pounds. You see Gibson, who threw the strike to him. Jawan Johnson, in fact, so big that some people think there's a chance he grows into eventually being an athletic tight end. And if you've been watching the NFL recently, that's not a bad place to be.
There's a couple of players at the wide receiver position who could potentially look at growing into that position.
Out of Marietta, Georgia, undecided on his college. The kicker is Rodrigo Blankenship. See what he can do from 34 yards out. Right down the middle, and the East squad putting points on the board first thanks to Tim Irvin, who will announce his college intentions later today. A 35-yard return. We have one of our 9 declarations already in the books. 8 left to go here at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Kyle Phillips, defensive lineman out of Nashville, Tennessee, going to stay in state and be a volunteer.
We are The Ohio State University. OHIO. Go Bucks.
Stop. Talk it like that, sir.
From football, you learn a lot about being a member of a team. The U.S. Army is a team. They all come together for one goal and for one purpose. We've always told our boys that freedom is a responsibility, and responsibility is freedom. And our oldest son has taken that responsibility on. My son chose the Army team. Am I proud of him? Extremely proud of him.
Always good to see Lynn Swann. Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome here in San Antonio, the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Paul Burmeister, Ross Tucker, and Anthony Herron in the booth. Martin Simmons, Lewis Johnson, Marty Snyder on the field. The 90 best, or 90 of the very best high school seniors in between high school and campus, stopping off here to put their talents on display. East team up 3-0, and bringing it out from deep in the end zone is Xavier Lewis. Defensive back out of East St. John High School in Reserve, Louisiana, going to play his college football at LSU. Taking the first series at quarterback for the West team was Brady White, Arizona State commit. Going to enroll there at Tempe in 10 days. And he is also mic'd up for the occasion.
Taylor Kelly leaving Tempe, the senior leader. Coach Todd Graham has had there at Arizona State, starter for 3 years. Mike Bercovici expected to take over as the starter next season, but Brady White says he wants to go in and compete.
Tailback is Chris Warren. And we have a new tailback, a new quarterback in the game, Ricky Town. Formerly the Alabama commit, now on his way to play for Steve Sarkisian at USC.
Yeah, it was funny when he told us yesterday that when he wanted to decommit from Alabama and switch to USC, he didn't have Nick Saban's phone number, so he emailed him. That's a heck of an email right there. Coach, I'm no longer going to come and be your quarterback. He said he never heard back from that email, but I think Alabama got the message.
He said it was a carefully crafted email that his dad helped him with. And Town goes down. Didn't see the pressure coming from behind. And the West team lucky to maintain possession.
How about that, Kyle Phillips? First he declares, then he comes right out. This might have been his second play in there. Goes right around the edge and brings downtown. The ball actually came out right there. That's what's so impressive to me about Phillips all week, is that with his size and his frame, he is still so flexible and explosive around the edge.
Look at his frame at this point in his development by comparison to the other defensive ends in this game. 210, 220 pounds where you would expect them to add weight. Kyle Phillips has a frame where maybe he could play and help stuff the run early in his career.
Ricky Town out of the backfield. And put that one right on his tailback, Chris Warren.
That was an incompletion. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, that was certainly a forward pass, so not a fumble. Defensive lineman always anxious to pounce on the ball, no matter what, Anthony.
Pounce on anything that's moving, Paul.
So the West side goes 3 and out. Actually, they're calling that.
They're calling it a fumble.
East football. Now, it certainly looked from the booth here like it was a forward pass.
We're at an odd angle, but I do think the officials, as they're conferring here, should get together, and the line judge, who should have had the best angle on it, maybe come in and overrule the call.
Just a little flare pass from Town to Warren. He never caught the ball. I mean, it's not even close to being a fumble. Let's hope the officials can figure that out. There is, of course, no replay here, no instant replay here in the U.S. Army Bowl.
Yeah, thrown from a yard deep in the end zone out to the 3-yard line.
And they're not. They're going to call it a fumble.
Wow.
I guess it's a good thing it's an all-star game.
Exactly.
This just gives us a chance to see future Ohio State quarterback Torrance Gibson operate from 1st and goal from the 6-yard line.
Might be another fumble.
And Jordan Scarlett never got the handoff. And the East squad gives it right back. Torrance Gibson and Jordan Scarlett had difficulty, both Florida natives, executing that handoff, and the West Side takes over.
I think that's karma right there. That's exactly what that is. That's karma after the East got the ball when they shouldn't have. Scarlett never really gets the ball, and of course now it's the West going the other way, like it should have been before.
So we just had one play in between for the West squad to get back on the field. And recovering that football. That man right there is Neville Gallimore. He's going to let you know where he'll play college football. That's happening after the break, our second live declaration.
My name is Neville Gallimore, representing Canada. Coming up next, I'll be making my college decision. Don't touch that remote.
Since the U.S. Army All-American Bowl started back in 2000, all kinds of defensive talent, defensive linemen, linebackers, defensive back, have come through here. A number of these names you can watch play on Wild Card Weekend, which kicks off today. Thinking about the defense and the declarations we always have in this game, Neville Gallimore from Canada Prep in Ontario. He is ready to let us know. Marty, take it away.
All right, thanks very much. Here with Neville, ready to make the big declaration. The first Canadian to play in this game and to declare here at the Army All-American Bowl. You got a little injury. We know that won't be much of a problem. You'll be moving on pretty soon. Great story here with his coach who's come down with him as well. Parents from Jamaica, but you were born and raised in Canada. We'll talk more about that story later, but right now it's about these three hats right here. We've got Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Florida State. So where is the Canadian going to be playing his American football?
I'm going to be playing at the University of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma Sooners. All right. Boomer Sooner. How about that? So, Neville, tell me about the decision.
I was very comfortable with my decision. Me and my family, we have high hopes for Oklahoma, and they did a great job in terms of involving me and my family, so I chose that school.
And I wonder, with you being in Canada, what was the challenge in terms of visibility for coaches knowing about you and seeing you to get you to this point?
It was hard at first. Obviously, being a Canadian, it's rare that you hear NCAA coaches going out that way to, see a Canadian. But with the school I go to, Canada Prep Academy, Coach Jeff MacArthur, my head coach, we made that possible. So that's why I'm here today.
All right, congratulations, you and Coach. Good luck at Oklahoma. This is going to be a big pick, a big move for the Sooners.
Neville Gallimore, player, 6'3", 315 pounds. He said that Coach Jerry Montgomery from the Oklahoma Sooners was the guy recruiting in there. Montgomery's a guy who's come up very fast through the recruiting rankings. And you see the level of competition that he faced at the Canada Prep Academy, maybe not as great as what he would have seen if he was on the field here this week, but a lot of potential, a lot of physical ability, a fast twitch guy, and they used him in defense in a way where he was in a two-point stance, rushed him off the edge quite a bit.
You see that change of direction for a 330-pound guy right there?
East defense strong up the middle there. We have another new quarterback, and that's Travis Waller on his way to Oregon. Marty Snyder.
Well, Paul, the story for Neville Gallimore and how he got here is just amazing. His parents, Carlton and Merdiva, have not seen him play since he was 10 years old. Dad, Carlton, is blind in one eye, has glaucoma in the other eye, so he can't work. Mom, Merdiva, works double shifts at a nursing home. His two older brothers work as well, and they have funded his way through school. His school is about 8 hours away from his home, so they have not been able to see him play. And he said, I feel like because of the sacrifices they make every day financially to help me, to get me to this position, I have no choice but to do my part in the classroom and on the field and not let them down. Today is a culmination of so much sacrifice. I cannot tell you how blessed I am to have this opportunity, and Oklahoma is happy he has that opportunity, Paul.
And I believe the University of Oregon, Marty, happy to have Travis Waller headed from Servite High School in Anaheim to Eugene. Based off of what we saw right there, I can see that young man fitting in pretty well with the Duck offense.
It looks like he's got the same body type as Marcus Mariota, and he looked exactly like Mariota did in the Rose Bowl the other night, pulling that ball and taking it around the edge.
Oregon offense lost one time, or the team lost one time this year. Since then, they've won 9 games, over 40 every single time, over 54 times, including 59 in that big win in the Rose Bowl against Florida State.
When you're thinking about the development of Travis Waller and where he'll head as he goes to Oregon, one of the things that in that comparison with Marcus Mariota, very similar stature at 6'4", about 200 pounds. but the accuracy of Mariota. That's one place where in watching the film of Travis Waller, we'll see the development continue once he gets to Eugene, is to be more consistent with his mechanics, with his accuracy, because the spread option read, running the football, he's off the charts with that, as we've already seen.
It might be a little bit raw as a passer right now. Very good runner, as we just saw, over 2,000 yards rushing his junior and senior seasons. But you talked about the accuracy, Anthony. He's just in the mid-50s in high school. I'd like to see that number at least over 60 as he moves to the next level. East defense continues to be strong up the middle. That's Kyle Phillips. He was all smiles when he told us he was going to Tennessee, and building off that momentum on the field.
You'll see he just slants inside there, and a miscommunication by the tight end and the left tackle to that side. Phillips stunts in and gets another tackle for a loss. He's on his way to becoming the MVP. What a day.
Inside of 6 minutes now in the first quarter. Cal Phillips, the early star. And the West offense still looking for its first down. The third quarterback we've seen today, Travis Waller. Servite High School made a special exception to let him graduate early, and he'll take part in spring football in Eugene a little bit later this spring. Close to the line of scrimmage, fires downfield, and wide open, Darius Geis. He'll play his college football at LSU today. He scores the first touchdown.
As we spoke to Darius Geis during the week, you certainly got a sense for how confident this young man is as a ball carrier, one of the best all-purpose running backs in the nation. He's got a great blend of both speed and power when he runs the football, but we see the catch, the soft hands out in space, and a very accurate football. Love the mechanics there moving the pocket from Waller.
Look at the shot that Waller took at the end of that, too, to step into that throw and still be able to deliver the football. How about Geis, by the way, telling us part of the reason why he's going to LSU is because he likes how much they rotate their running backs so he can stay fresh for the NFL. The things that 17, 18-year-olds think about now.
And the special teams gaffes that we are prone to seeing in all-star games. Ball's incomplete, and the score will remain 6-3. Travis Waller, 92-yard touchdown pass to LSU-bound Darius Geis for the first touchdown of the afternoon. Neville Gallimore, all smiles. He's going to Oklahoma. Cal Phillips on his way to Tennessee. 7 more declarations coming up.
My name is Darius Geis, and I'm going to be running rock for LSU.
My name is Trent Thomas. I'm committed to University of Georgia. I'm bored.
My name is Sheriff Flowers, and I'm committed to the University of Alabama.
My name is Mitch Hyde. I'm committed to Clemson University.
My name is Brady White, and I am committed to Arizona State University.
My name is Khalil McKenzie, and I'm committed to the University of Tennessee. Go Vols.
Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome. The West squad up 6-3. Darius Geis told us yesterday it's a 2-minute drive from his home in Baton Rouge to campus at LSU. Well, he just went 92 yards for the first touchdown. He's on the sideline with Lewis Johnson.
And just telling me, Paul, that he got his shine on, his swag on here on NBC. It was a great play, 92 yards. Let's go back and look at it. You're lined up in the slot. Tell me what happened as the play developed.
As soon as the ball snapped, the safety just overran it, and I just did a skinny post right inside of him, and it was wide open. And I tried to wave to the quarterback so he could see me. Then once I caught it, just daylight.
It's all about speed right there, huh?
Looking back at him and looking at my swag at the same time as I was burning him. So, you know.
I got to ask you, as a running back, what's it feel like to be able to outrun somebody like that in the open field?
I mean, it feels great. I always know I had elite speed. You know, just never got to use it throughout this whole week.
Is this the kind of thing you hope you get to do at LSU?
Well, I hope I get to do it a lot, especially coming out the backfield, though.
All right, heck of a play. Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
All right, he's headed back to the field, Paul.
All right, Lewis, great catch and run by Darius Geis, but almost on cue, Travis Waller, the quarterback, headed to Oregon. As we talked about the accuracy that we wondered about, not only showed good accuracy on the run, but excellent awareness to keep those eyes downfield right before he crossed the line of scrimmage and also right before he got drilled. The 92-yard hookup from Oregon to LSU. Tavares McFadden bringing it back out of Plantation, Florida. He'll play his college football in Tallahassee for the Seminoles.
McFadden has had a tremendous week in the secondary. He actually won the Lockheed Martin
Air Defender of the Year award. Almost 6'3" as a corner. He's one of those guys, you talk to some of the scouts and coaches that they believe might be able to play early for the Seminoles.
Sam Darnold from San Clemente, California, about an hour drive south of Los Angeles. From a town known for surfing and from a family known for volleyball. He's on his way to play quarterback at USC. More on his family here momentarily. Pass was caught by Deion Kane. Terrific quarterback as a passer and runner in high school, but expected to be a top-notch wide receiver at Clemson. Sam Darnold, as for his family, his mother was a volleyball player at Long Beach Community College. His sister plays volleyball at Rhode Island right now. And his grandfather, the best volleyball player of them all, as Sam escapes pressure, keeps it himself. Run out of bounds, and we continue with the Sam Darnold family theme with Marty Snyder.
Yeah, Paul, he told me Grandpa was a stud at volleyball, so he played in the Olympics in 1964, as you mentioned. And I said, have you thought about playing volleyball? He said, actually, I'm pretty terrible. He said, I play at the beach once in a while in the summer, but I do just enough to embarrass myself. But I do play basketball. I'm fairly good at that. And that's one thing that Coach Sarkisian told him from USC. He said, listen, enjoy your senior season. Play basketball, go to the prom, play in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. But when you come to campus in May, be ready to work, because that's when the work begins.
Little touch pass out of the backfield to Johnny Frazier out of Princeton, North Carolina, also on his way to Florida State.
Yeah, speaking of Darnold, I had a chance to talk to Jordan Palmer, who helps run the Elite 11 quarterback school that we hear about so often, and he was really impressed by Darnold. He called him very similar to his brother Carson, maybe not quite as strong of an arm, a little bit more athletic, but he just felt like he was very similar to his older brother that's still a member of the Arizona Cardinals.
Now that Darnold has committed to USC, and we mentioned earlier Ricky Town, quarterback's committed to SC as well. So two different quarterbacks going into that SC program in the coming season.
And they roomed together at the Elite 11 camp in Oregon this past spring. So the West team, one series after, 92-yard touchdown from Travis Waller to Darius Geis, and they'll come back onto the field. Offensive stars here. There have been all kinds of them on the field. Quarterbacks, tailbacks, wide receivers. Deshaun Jackson, Percy Harvin now on his third team. Joe Thomas voted All-Pro once again. Andrew Luck going to play against the Bengals coming up tomorrow. And how could you forget this? Odell Beckham Jr.
The one-handed grab, one of the best catches I've ever seen in my entire life. From one LSU guy to another one, and Darius Geis is going to be headed there next season.
Just think about LSU for a second. Just rookies in the NFL. I mean, Jeremy Hill with the Bengals, Alfred Blue with the Texans. We just saw Odell Beckham Jr. How about Jarvis Landry with the Miami Dolphins? I mean, how did they lose a game last year in college football with all these guys?
Just think about the depth at the defensive back position. That was even something that Darius Geis wanted to, even though he's not looking to play DB when he gets down there or when he remains down there in Baton Rouge. But he said it's known as DBU, and he loves the swag of the defensive backfield at LSU.
Brady White, the Arizona State bound quarterback, out of the backfield. And showing us the moves there, Derek Dillon. You'll watch him make those moves in the SEC the next 4 years. He'll play at Florida.
Pretty interesting that a kid from the state of Louisiana, like Dillon is going to Florida. Seeing more and more of that, guys getting out of state for all these schools, but Dillon showing pretty special run after catch there. And a nice downfield block. You love to see that from your receivers. Ekili Ross.
And Jim McElwain taking over that Gators program. Still trying to get a few extra recruits here. I'm sure we'll hear a bit about that from Barton Simmons. Just that coaching transition. We already touched on it with Jim Harbaugh earlier in the day at Michigan.
Running back of interest to Jim Harbaugh, Mike Weber, in the game right now. And let's check in with Barton Simmons.
Yeah, you guys talked about a Louisiana kid getting out of state, heading to Florida. A big reason for that is LSU was recruiting him as a defensive back early on in the process. Now the Tigers are recruiting him as a wide receiver. He's an outstanding special teams player as well, and he's a kid that now could end up at LSU. I think a lot of people think that they're going to be able to steal him from the Gators, so that's something to watch over the course of January.
Brady White out of the shotgun once again. Onside with accuracy to Isaiah Langley from Pleasanton, California. He'll play his college football at USC.
It's a good-looking ball there from Brady White. Again, with that Arizona State offense, you know from what Brady White did with his high school program, he'll be comfortable in the spread option. A variety of people have Brady White listed as a pro-style quarterback, but during his senior season became listed more as a dual-threat quarterback because of the yardage he put up as a runner.
And just to piggyback off that point, Anthony, I think one of the things you'll see from Brady White is he'll fill out a little bit more. Yeah. He's got a terrific stroke, the way he throws the football. Just needs to fill out a little bit more. I thought it was amazing yesterday when Paul asked him if he's looked at the Arizona State playbook yet. He said, yeah, I look at it on my phone all the time. These kids are looking at the playbooks on their phone now.
And coming up, second quarter action, and we'll kick it off with another declaration. Devonair Clarington from the state of Florida. Will he stay at home or go elsewhere? Find out as we begin the second quarter right after this.
Stay tuned. Don't touch that remote. Watch me make my college selection live on NBC.
The University of Tennessee.
I knew it, man. I knew he was going to Tennessee. Hey, Flashlight, don't line up too wide.
That was Kyle Phillips on his way to Tennessee. Defensive lineman Neville Gallimore from Canada to Norman. He's going to play his college football for Oklahoma. And Devonair Clarington out of Miami, Florida. He is up next.
Well, Devonair played defense for much of the season, but he will likely play tight end in college. We have Dad Robert here and a couple coaches as well. And during this process, Miami led for much of it, but Texas, LSU, Florida all making a very late push. So, Devonair, where are you going to take your talents?
First off, I want to thank God, and I want to thank my mom. Unfortunately, she's not here. And I want to give a shout-out to my brother, Wanye Clarington. You know, he told me to give him a shout-out. But a wise man once told me, everything is bigger in Texas.
There you go. He is going to go to the University of Texas. And how about Charlie Strong? Always a very good recruiter in South Florida. He does it once again. He gets Devonair Clarington.
It was really interesting hearing Devonair talk about how sought after it was for a Florida kid to get a Texas offer. It's a rare offer for a Florida kid to get one. He played defense last year, as you heard Marty say, but he's going to be a tight end. He's got the athleticism. You see him running around making some plays, but he really impressed this week with his hands and his route running. He is playing the right position at the right time.
Without a doubt, and a guy who, being a defensive lineman, you would think transitioning over to that offensive side where he didn't get many reps this past season, he'll have the ability to be an end-line blocker as well. Right now, just about 220 pounds in that range, but has a frame that can certainly add weight.
First play of the second quarter, Brady White with the inside give to Chris Warren. If you recognize that name, Chris's father, 11-year NFL running back, 4th-round selection of the Seahawks back in 1990. 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, 3-time Pro Bowler. So talented running back, certainly runs in the family. Chris just visited Texas. Also going to visit Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and Washington. Says he already knows the coaching staffs very well at all 3 places. Wants to see, number 1, what the players are like there on campus, and number 2, if that campus is a place where I would like to live for the next 4 years. Brady White falling away, and that is an easy touchdown, West team. Jarrett Dillon, the future Florida Gator, just kind of hauls that one in and backs into the end zone.
The play that was initially set up to be a bit of a flare pass to Chris Warren as he came out of the backfield, but a very heady decision
from Brady White. Allows the pass rush to come in and then shows off a little bit of arm talent. Getting the ball down the field to an open Derek Dillon.
The old wheel route right there. Both touchdowns now have been on dropped coverages. You expect those type of things in all-star games.
Brady White, maybe not elite arm talent. I mean, when you compare him to a couple of the other top-ranked quarterbacks we've had in the game in recent years, but certainly above average arm strength. And you see there the ability to throw from different platforms.
Brady White threw for over 10,000 yards at Hart High School in Santa Clarita, California, and 109 touchdowns. Throws the second touchdown pass of the afternoon today for his team. Travis Waller, he'll go from Los Angeles to Oregon in the spring. Fired the first one to Darius Geis. Second touchdown provided by Brady White. The toss to Derek Dillon.
Similar stature to Taylor Kelly as well when you're talking about Brady White. He's 6'2", 190 pounds. Taylor Kelly wasn't really a big, bulky sort of quarterback in that big pro-style kind of mold.
Future Arizona State quarterback, 3 out of 3 on that drive. That's Brady White, 67 yards, and the touchdown toss to Derek Dillon. Devonair Clarington from Miami to Austin. Watch it play after the break.
Especially for East Team quarterback Drew Lock, because today he's playing for his great-grandfather, a decorated veteran of the Korean War.
Grandpa Don, he's kind of a big deal. Rain, sleet, sunshine, snow, he will be there no matter what.
I'm very proud of him. Quarterback is just a natural thing for him. The sky's the limit with that guy.
My mission is to represent myself and my family as well as Grandpa Don did overseas.
There's Drew Lock, number 3 out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. Got a little insight to his family. He'll be playing quarterback for the University of Missouri. About a 2-hour drive there from just outside of Kansas City down the road to Columbia. Got the helmet on. He's the one quarterback we haven't seen yet. And it looks like he could take care of that here after the kickoff. This is T.J. Rahming, wide receiver out of Georgia, who will play his college football at Duke. Moments ago, we saw Brady White headed to Arizona State, toss his first touchdown pass of the game. He's mic'd up today. Let's take a listen.
Hey, that's quarter, fellas. Hey, let's keep it going. Let's bust these dudes right now. Come on, let's go. We're about to score right now. Hey, way to get upfield. What's the play? I don't know.
Second touchdown pass for the West team. The first one provided by Travis Waller. Brady White right there to future Florida Gator Derek Dillon. Wide open as he crossed the end zone there, as he crossed the goal line stripe. And White a perfect 3 out of 3 on that drive, finishing with the touchdown.
5-yard penalty. First down.
Sam Darnold in the game now for the East. Definitely a pro-style quarterback. Not as mobile outside the pocket.
Tailback there is Johnny Frazier out of Princeton, North Carolina, who plays college football at Florida State.
It's interesting, there's some rumblings that Frazier might end up changing his mind and stay in state, whether it's with NC State, he lives near Raleigh, or with the Duke Blue Devils. I asked him about that. He just kind of shrugged his shoulders. So we'll see. There's a lot that can change between now and signing day, that's for sure.
Johnny Frazier looks like a 5-star guy to me.
And Darnold threw that one up for grabs, and that is going to be a pick 6. Number 6, Jacob Daniel.
That's actually Porter Gustin, the linebacker from Utah. Saw this guy on the field before the game. This guy looks like Drago from Rocky IV. 6'5", 250. He's playing linebacker. I think he'll end up playing defensive end.
He plays like Drago as well. When you watch the film, Porter Gus is a guy who plays every position for his high school. Quarterback, linebacker, defensive back. As tough and rugged as they come, and as athletic as any player on the field as well.
Extra point up and in, and the passing game on offense and defense been good to the west side. Three touchdowns for the West, and another declaration coming up. That's Stanley Norman out of Serra High School, just outside of Los Angeles. He'll let you know where he's going to go to school and play college football. That's coming up right after the break.
My name is Stanley Scrappy Norman, and I'll be making my decision live on NBC.
Stanley Norman, defensive back out of Serra High School, Los Angeles, set to declare. Here's Lewis Johnson.
All right, thanks very much, Paul. A great group down here. And Stanley, I can tell he's pensive thinking about this big moment. He had 22 schools coming after him at one point, and somehow you've gotten it down to 5 hats. Your mom, Cassandra, is here, and everyone else is here to support you in this moment. So tell us, after all of that, where are you going to play your college football? Alabama, Arizona State, Oklahoma, UCLA, or Washington State?
For the next 4 years, I'll be taking my talents to the State University of Arizona.
Arizona State, all right. And you've actually got a shirt that shows that's where you're going. How about that? Well, Stanley, as you pull that out, how difficult was the decision to finally get there, Scrappy? How tough was the decision?
It wasn't really a hard decision. Coach Dale Alexander, Coach Ball, Coach Graham, everybody been there for me ever since my injury. And it's just been a great experience with this injury, and everything been going well for me.
Well, hey, we didn't get to see you play here today, but we know you're going to be fine. Good luck at Arizona State.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, guys.
It was interesting that just as he walked into the meeting room with us yesterday, we asked him when he made up his mind. He said, just now.
And the nickname of Stanley Norman, Scrappy, certainly describes the way he plays on the field. Listed as an athlete, can play both defensive back or wide receiver.
TJ Romming, the Duke-bound wide receiver, with that return, scooped it up off the turf. And Stanley Norman, defensive back, Serra High School in Los Angeles, the man they call Scrappy, going to join Brady White, the quarterback, and also athlete Jason Lewis to make it 3 Sun Devils, at least, who knows, maybe more, headed to Tempe from this game.
That is one of the things that really stood out to me this week, Paul. Not just the guys like Stanley Norman that are going to Arizona State, but some of the guys that aren't Arizona State's in the mix or that are still considering Arizona State. They are on the rise to becoming a marquee program. That's something that Brady White pointed out to us.
Well, the one player going to Missouri from this game going to have his first ball picked off, and that's on back-to-back plays. The West squad comes up with a big 6.
And there he is, Ben Humphreys from Mater Dei High School, Santa Ana, California, getting the pick 6 there. How about this? Both of Ben's parents went to Stanford. His sister plays volleyball at Stanford, but he's going all the way across the country to play for the Duke Blue Devils. He said he just wanted to do something different, wanted to do his own thing. Nice job getting the tip on the ball, and then Humphreys knows what to do with it.
That Humphreys family, you get the sense then that they like programs emerging onto the football landscape. Stanford, of course, was that way years back on the football field, now one of the top programs in the country, and Duke really in that mix now the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, that was big. Draymond Jones, defensive lineman out of Cleveland, who's on his way to Ohio State, who batted that ball in the air. A little assist from Draymond Jones. Headed to the Big Ten. To the man headed to Stanford, Ben Humphreys. The West is rolling here in San Antonio. They're up 27-3. Special guest on the sideline.
Yeah, Paul, I've caught up with our friend Rod Woodson, and tell us what you're doing in San Antonio this year. We usually get to hang out with you this time of the year every year.
I've been here for 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
You know, I worked for NBC, and then I was a keynote speaker last year, and this year I'm an honorary coach. This is the first year that they're doing the honorary coaches with the Hall of Fame. So me and Marcus Allen are on the other side. He's with the West. That's winning right now. But it's an honor to be around these kids. These kids are really fun to be around.
You got to get your team going in the right direction here, don't you?
Even keel. It's the second half. Hey, you got to play the whole game, every single snap. So we had a lull. They got ahead of us. We'll be all right.
You've had plenty of pick sixes in your life. The West currently doing that. Nice return by the East right there, though. What has impressed you about these kids and just how developed they are at the age of 17 and 18 versus when you came out of high school?
I think their skill sets. I think their skill sets at a young age is very tremendous. They have really good feet. Their knowledge of the game is way above and beyond when I was 17 years old. So they're ahead of the curve.
Is there one or two players maybe on your sideline on the East that really have jumped out to you this week?
Well, I think, Trent Thompson is just playing lights out. This guy is a man among boys. Kyle Phillips is extremely quick and powerful. I mean, you got a lot of good players here. It's hard to pick a couple guys, but just the whole group, that their skill sets are tremendous.
Always good to see you. Go coach, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, and he agrees with you guys on the players that have shined on the East so far this week.
Rod Woodson, all-time great. You mentioned he's had a lot of pick sixes. In fact, the most in NFL history. And guys, I don't know if you spent time around Rod, but combination of terrific player and good person does not get any better than Hall of Famer Rod Woodson.
And for the kids to get to be around Rod Woodson and Marcus Allen during this week, it's just got to be such a privilege for them. It's the funny thing, you just heard Rod talk about it now, is that they get something out of it as Pro Football Hall of Famers to be around the kids as well.
Jason Lewis also going to be an Arizona State Sun Devil around the left side.
And this piggybacks, Paul, off what we were talking about earlier in terms of Arizona State. You got a kid from Virginia Beach, Virginia, who's going all the way out to Arizona State to play for the Sun Devils. Tells you a lot about what Coach Graham is doing out there. And Lewis already 240 pounds as a high school senior.
There he is up the middle for the East team, first down, and at quarterback, Drew Lock unfortunately had his first pass picked off, but his father, Andy, was an offensive lineman at Missouri from '86 to '89 and always gone to home games there in Columbia. Committed there during his junior season and excited to go play for Gary Pinkel, and why not? After the Tigers have collected back-to-back SEC East titles. And that's Deion Kane. Going to play wide receiver at Clemson, even though he was a terrific dual-threat quarterback in high school in Florida.
And Paul Locke is listed as a drop-back pro-style passer, but he had full scholarship offers to places like Missouri and Oklahoma for basketball as a shooting guard. Tells you a little bit about the type of athlete he is.
Flushed out to his right. Thought about getting rid of it, but just kept it himself and took that loss. Keyshawn Lucier-Smith chasing him out of bounds. Marty.
Paul Ross talks about his basketball skills, talking about Drew Lock. In fact, he had the chance to graduate earlier this year, chose not to because he wanted to stay and play basketball, averaging 23 so far in his senior season. He said it was actually a little tough to come to San Antonio. One of their biggest tournaments of the year was this weekend. He had to miss it. He said he certainly misses the guys. So the big question is, could he play both at Missouri? He told me it's definitely a consideration of mine, and new coach Kim Anderson at Missouri has reached out to him. He said, hey, you want to hoist up a couple of jumpers on our side of campus? We'd be happy to do that. So I think the invitation is there if he wants to make a shot at trying to play both at Missouri.
Big hit there, Marty, from Marvell Tell, defensive back out of Crespi High. Marvell going to declare his college intention a little bit later today.
Marvell Tell, a slender-built guy who's played a lot of safety during his high school days, but you see there a thumper, a guy willing to come downhill, run the alley, and make big hits.
East squad trying to get back in this one. The West team scoring in a number of different ways. Travis Waller with a touchdown pass. Brady White has a touchdown pass. The West team also with 2 pick sixes. This is Drew Lock. And firing incomplete.
Almost the tip drill right there. Deion Kane almost caught it, and if he didn't, it looked like Darius Slayton was going to catch it off the tip.
That's Lawrence Cager, 6'5", 200-pound wide receiver out of Maryland. He'll let you know his college intentions after the break.
My name is Lawrence Cager. I am a wide receiver for Baltimore, Maryland. I don't know. Tune in.
Cager Where's he going?
Well, Paul, not only is he a talented wide receiver, he's also a terrific track athlete. He just had his personal record of 6'10" in the high jump last week. We have everyone here from the family. We have Mom Mandel, Dad Lawrence Sr., or Lawrence Jr. rather, and we have Alabama, Georgia, Miami, and Virginia Tech. Lawrence, lots gone into this. Where are you going to go to college?
First of all, I'd just like to thank God and my family and my coaches and trainers for giving me the opportunity to come this far. And I'm blessed to say I will be committing to University of Miami.
The University of Miami, and I think that's a bit of a surprise for everyone. You're leaning Alabama. Why Miami and why the change?
Just because, you know, Brad Kaya, the offense really, and building a relationship with Al Golden and Coach Carroll, the wide receivers coach.
There you go. It looked like Alabama had this locked up, but Paul, a bit of a switch. He's going to go to Miami.
Yes, it was interesting, the conversation we had with him about Alabama last night.
He said he had a great relationship with Lane Kiffin and Billy Napier, the wide receivers coach down there. So a change of heart for Lawrence.
Jay Bradford, Texas A&M bound recruit around the left side. Take a look at the highlights here. 6'5", 200 pounds, and that's a mismatch in college. So, of course, in high school, he's going to have the physical advantage. You also see the speed there.
I mean, 6'5" with a 6'10" high jump. I would just throw it to him every. Look at that, 6'10" in the background. That blows my mind away that somebody can jump over my head like that.
I'm not Lewis Johnson. I'm no expert on track and field, but 6'10" sounds astounding to me. I mean, I don't care what level you're at.
Some of the scouts you talked to during the week said he really reminds them of Justin Hunter, the Titans wide receiver, former Tennessee Vol.
Miami could really use some of the extra skilled players with their passing game. Young, talented quarterback in the lineup for the Hurricanes. Great running game. There's some depth in the backfield, but at the wide receiver position, need more execution. You know, Al Golden's got to be excited about getting Lawrence Cager.
Oh, so you just thought.
Yeah.
And have you told the Alabama coach?
Lawrence headed from Maryland to Miami, and the West squad now with inside 3 minutes left, looking to add to that big lead. Not going to happen there.
Guess who?
In stereo, folks. This guy's having a monster game. Kyle Phillips yet again penetrating into the backfield. Not just the size necessary to hit blocks, but you leave him unblocked, and he's certainly athletic enough to take down ball carriers in open space.
Is it possible to be the game MVP when your team's losing 27-3?
If it is.
He's got my vote. I don't even know if I'm part of the voting process, but he's got my vote.
He's been the most outstanding player so far. And on his way to the University of Tennessee as we hit the 2-minute mark with the second of two USC quarterbacks we've seen here today. USC bound. This is Sam Darnold out of San Clemente. And watch out from behind. Down he goes again. And in there again, Cal Phillips. And this time he had a little bit of help.
DeAndre Walker, the edge rusher who's going to tell us where he's going later on in the game. He gets around the edge, spins back as Phillips chases down Ricky Town.
Love to see the pass rush mechanics off the edge there from Phillips as well, using his hands in a much more violent, efficient way than his highlight tape shows.
Let's go down to Marty Snyder.
Well, Paul, I talked to Lawrence Cager just a moment ago, and as we said in our meeting yesterday, he told us he was going to Alabama. I said, when did you change your mind? He said, honestly, this morning. He said, I talked to my parents about it. He said, it's just a feeling I had that I needed to commit to Miami. He said he did call Coach Nick Saban this morning, and he said Coach Saban was amazing. He said, I was worried he was going to be upset, but he was great about it. He understood. He said, you need to go where your heart is. He said, right now, my heart's in Miami.
Let's check in with Barton Simmons on what this means for the U.
Guys, this is seeing recruiting carry over from one year to the next. Four-star Brad Kaya had a big-time freshman year at Miami. He was a big reason for this commitment, not only playing with Brad Kaya in the future, but Brad actually had an active role in recruiting Lawrence Cager, so Brad understands the importance of getting guys like that to throw to as well.
Our Ricky Town, the quarterback who's headed to USC, is the quarterback for the West Side. Former Alabama commit. And this is going to be another easy touchdown for the West Side. Darius Geis, his second touchdown reception out of that West backfield. This one good for 61 yards.
Well, you see why Darius Geis had scholarship offers during his sophomore season before he was even the starting tailback for his program. skill set on display of an all-purpose back with explosive talent in the open field.
Once again, he was working out of the slot, and again, quarterback stepped up and found Geis. Maybe he should move the slot receiver like former LSU Tiger Jarvis Landry had a terrific rookie season for the Miami Dolphins.
Geis with a 92-yard touchdown reception in the first quarter and a 61-yarder right there.
As you referenced earlier, Ross, Darius Geis said he loves depth in the backfield. He had depth at the running back position for the program in high school. Certainly depth at tailback, halfback, H-back for LSU over the years. And so we're seeing the role that Darius Geis could potentially fill for the Bayou Bengals very early in his career.
My favorite was when we asked him, you know, running backs that he likes and running backs that he's similar to. He said, none. I'm one of a kind.
One of a kind. That is a confident young man.
He's got a personality, that guy.
Also has 2 touchdown receptions here from 92 and 61 yards out. Described himself as powerful, strong, and fast. I think that was just before he said he was one of a kind. It all goes together.
And he's not wrong. When you watch the way he plays, not just today, but evaluating the film, I mean, he was a ball carrier, never afraid to run it up inside. He does have power to sort of run through contact, seeing the speed on display as well.
Also seeing the talent that USC is going to have at quarterback. Cody Kessler has another season there. Remember a couple years ago we had Max Brown, the National Player of the Year, is already there. Ricky Towns just threw the touchdown pass will join Sam Darnold, who is playing for the East team. Let's check in with Lewis Johnson.
All right, I've got the wide receiver and the quarterback here. Ricky, this guy's lined up in the slot again. Yep. What did you see that helped this play develop? Here it is.
Well, I saw the cover 0, and before the play, he told me, he said, I'm going to be open, so I knew. So I just stepped up in the pocket. He beat his man. He did what he was supposed to do, and it was a great play, touchdown.
Once again, you're getting wide open with the speed. How does this happen?
Once again, it's that swag. I'm telling you, that Adidas speed, it all is all that matters. It's that swag.
As a quarterback, what's it like to step up there and be able to see this guy and hit him?
It's such a relief because there's chaos going on, and then it's almost like the light at the end of the tunnel. I just give him the ball, and he does his part.
Wow, excellent quarterback, running back connection. More to come, I guess. All right, Paul.
And Ricky told us that his favorite quarterback is Andrew Luck because of the smarts and athleticism we saw both on display right there. Let's take a listen to the action and the conversations down there on the field.
Hey, you called that. You called that. Good job, dude. Good job.
There you go. They can't guard you one-on-one like that with no safety help. Oh, my God.
I would say no safety help. There's no safety in the shot at all. This is Torrance Gibson on his way to Ohio State. And that was nearly a one-handed interception by Deshaun Holiday from San Marcos, California, still undecided on where he'll play college football.
Flag on the play. This game, while we don't have official review.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 1, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
That penalty on Deshaun Holiday in the secondary with the pass interference.
And looking at the attempted, minus the flag there, the attempted one-handed interception. I'm reminded last night, watching a bowl game, and for Washington, Budda Baker, who we saw here last year, made a one-handed interception against Oklahoma State. Not enough to get his team a victory, but certainly an impressive play. And it's fun watching every fall the true freshmen that go from this game to having success at the next level. Royce Freeman scored touchdowns here in the game last year. Went for over 1,000 yards for Oregon. Scored a couple in the huge victory against Florida State a couple of nights ago. And right out. That's how the East team gets right back in it. And that's Deon Cain, 3-year starting quarterback. Going to be a wide receiver at Clemson, but showing you off there the arm strength and the skill.
That's pretty good coaching, too. You know you have a wide receiver that was a quarterback in high school. Why not bring him around and let him throw the ball? You see Cain comes around, pretty well blocked, The West was there, but Cager just uses that size, maybe a little bit of a push-off.
KG, and he's almost like a veteran sort of move there, pushing off.
He's had a heck of a 8 minutes, too, saying he's going to Miami and now scoring a touchdown.
We're going to get everyone wanting to commit now because they have big moments right after they do.
I was going to say it was a great 5 minutes, but Ross probably he's probably tracking it over there. Points well taken, though, Lawrence Cager. Moments after announcing that he's going to take his talents from Maryland to the U. Hauls it in from Deion Kane.
Obviously, the frame allows potential for early success in the red zone, but we see there the speed on display from Lawrence Cager. He's a guy that can run go routes. He can run comebacks. He can threaten defenders in the secondary to make the coverage open up. He does have speed to be able to do different things in the route tree.
Deion Kane from Tampa, Florida, over 7,500 yards of total offense, throwing and running here, showing off the arm strength before he moves on to playing wide receiver at Clemson. And Lawrence Cager hauls it in, and there he goes.
That's a pretty good throw. And, you know, you look at Cager going up against a defensive back like Nico Fertitta. A little bit of a push-up there, but almost feels like it's unfair when you're 6'5" going against these guys.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
There's no doubt explosive talent available to the East squad offensively as well. No surprise that they're now finally getting it going with a big play of their own.
You stand up, man. Let's get it.
And Deion Kane was offered scholarships by several programs to keep him at the quarterback position. He does prefer wideout, though.
Torrance Gibson going to play quarterback at Ohio State, but going nowhere there.
That's the birthday boy right there.
The top-ranked defensive tackle in this game, Khalil McKenzie.
Turned 18 years old today. 354 pounds when he reported this week. You'll see Gibson steps up. That's the wrong place to step up.
How many pounds did you say there, Ross?
354. He said he lost 15 pounds the first day of practice.
Khalil McKenzie not able to play during his senior season because of a transfer rule that was put in place.
Go Canes, baby.
So we are a little more than right at halfway through the lists. Cal Phillips started us off, and he's had a tremendous game since. The most recent one to declare, Lawrence Cager, moments ago, the touchdown reception from Deion Kane. Looking forward to Ross, Irvintell, and Walker here in the second half.
Talking about looking in retrospect at the players who've done big things on this field and then gone on to even bigger moments collegiately and in the NFL. But the guessing game that we play right now, trying to predict not only just the schools the kids will go to, but what positions they project to. And, you know, at this age, 17, you can reference Khalil McKenzie just turning 18 years old. The body will continue to develop, and the mentality you have, the techniques you work in certain positions, depending on the scheme you're in. Yeah, there's players sometimes who started at wide receiver, end up at linebacker by the time their career ends, sometimes even defensive end. The body changes a lot at this point in their lives.
48 seconds left. The West team on top, 33-9. Keely Ross, he'll declare his intention in the second half. Goes down at the 13-yard line.
Only 43 seconds remaining. I'll be curious to see what happens offensively here. This isn't the type of game where I think it's worth taking a knee. You know, go ahead and just see if you can get another big moment out of it.
All three of the West quarterbacks have a touchdown pass. That's Brady White, Travis Waller, Ricky Town. Darius Geis, the tailback from Baton Rouge, who plays college football at LSU. He has 2 touchdown receptions. One from 61 yards out, and the other that happened in the first quarter. That was from 92 yards away from Travis Waller, the future Oregon quarterback.
You've been to Louisiana enough. You can pronounce it Baton Rouge if you feel like it's right.
You can only do that if you're native, right?
Well, that's a good point. Valid.
They were not listening to you, Anthony. They're just taking a knee.
Boo on that. That's just me. I just want more big plays. I want more points scored.
Had a lot of big plays already. Different kinds of touchdown passes from quarterbacks to tailbacks, quarterbacks to receivers, a receiver to a receiver. Although he was a very good high school quarterback. That was Deion Kane. And the West defense
with not one but 2 pick sixes here in the first half.
There's a lot of offense in here in a short week. Variety of formations and plays getting run.
Both teams leaning towards the pass here. Only 19 yards rushing combined in the first 2 quarters and 320 yards passing between the 2 teams. We'll have quarters 3 and 4 and also 4 more declarations here inside the Alamo Dome in San Antonio in the second half of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. 1 half in the books. We're back for the second half. We'll send you to the studios, our NBC Sports studios in Stanford. Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome, the annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl being dominated by the talent on the West squad. Scoring on offense and defense, they lead 33-9. And welcome back to the broadcast booth, Paul Burmeister, Anthony Herron, and Ross Tucker. There is a certain running back, his name is Darius Geis, headed to LSU on the West team, who has more yards receiving right now than the entire East team has of total offense.
He's a great ball carrier. We haven't needed to see that on display because of the way the West team has operated offensively so far, but we have seen the afterburners in the legs of Darius Geis, and why Les Miles is so excited to get this young and talented all-purpose running back. We haven't even seen him return a kick yet, but he's got that ability in him as well. Quarterbacks moving the pocket, him breaking through the coverage, and Darius Geis, once he gets in open space, he's just going to keep running until he goes Forrest Gump, basically, just getting into the end zone time after time.
And looking to the defensive side of the ball, his team isn't doing very well, but it's no fault of Kyle Phillips, who at the top of the broadcast told us he was going to be playing at Tennessee, and Vol fans have to be awfully happy.
Well, I mean, what a day he's having. I know they're down by a lot of points, but he has been dominating in the backfield the entire first half. Watching the left side of your screen just come with speed and power. He sacks Ricky Town and strips him early. Then he stunts inside and able to get another tackle for a loss in the backfield. He has been all over the West offensive skill position players the entire first half.
All right, and we also have the insight on the sideline of the director of scouting for 24/7 Sports, Barton Simmons. And Barton.
Yeah, you talked about Kyle Phillips. I mean, we have him as now the #1 player in the state on 24/7 Sports. He may need an extra star next to his name. That's the kind of day he's having, and really, it's not a fluke. All week in practice, we've been watching him. Kyle Phillips, aside from Trent Thompson, has maybe been the top performer on the east sideline. So just an unbelievable week, and that's the type of thing that we consider when we reevaluate our rankings following this game.
All right, and Lewis Johnson also with us on the sideline.
My work ethic is what got me in the point where I am today.
Talent won't get you all the way, so you definitely need to work hard in everything that you do.
Go 100% all the time, make myself better and better.
Whether it's in the classroom or in the weight room or on the field.
Grinding in football and grinding in school. You said your goal's higher and higher.
I work hard at all times. You never know who's watching.
A lot of people are looking up to me, so gotta set an example for the young kids.
Playing the U.S. Army All-American Bowl is a big honor.
They sacrifice their lives for us, so I want to put on a show for them.
When the lights come on, it's game time.
Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome. Halftime almost over here. The annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. The West team rolling. 3 touchdowns from the offense, 2 from the defense, and they lead 33-9. Paul Burmeister, Anthony Herron, Ross Tucker in the booth. Barton Simmons, director of scouting from 24/7 Sports, with us on the sideline, along with Marty Snyder and also Lewis Johnson. The West quarterbacks having a highly efficient afternoon right now, 7 out of 8. Brady White, Travis Waller, Ricky Town combining for 7 out of 8. And Darius Geis has 2 touchdown receptions, 2 catches for 153 yards. See if the East team can respond here with their first drive of the third quarter, trailing 33-9. TJ receiver who will go to school at Duke, play college football for a vastly improved team there. We've got fisticuffs on the 23-yard line and a penalty flag coming in. And I believe it was the man with 2 long touchdown receptions, Darius Geis.
Man, Darius Geis is not messing around. You don't like to see that. The tail end of that play, I think he threw a punch.
Yes, he did.
After the play, unsportsmanlike. Number 20, the kick team. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
Darius Geis actually lucky he didn't get tossed from the game.
Look at the right side of your screen rolling around there, and then right here, that right hand was what was noteworthy.
Certainly hope he can get over to the sideline, cool down a bit. These all-star environments, you appreciate players being competitive and wanting to get the best out of each other, but obviously a line you want to draw.
The East Side starting at quarterback with one of our lead stories, Torrance Gibson, the quarterback, back-to-back state titles at American Heritage High School in Plantation, on his way to joining the crowded and talented quarterback crowd in Columbus. That's Jordan Scarlett, a tailback on his way to Miami.
You know, Paul, the one thing I didn't understand, and several guys told us this, including Torrance Gibson, is that even though he's committed to Ohio State, he's going to take some other official visits this month, which is unique to me, right? But I think sometimes what happens is you have to commit so early in this process, you're never even able to take official visits, which I think is a shame.
Gibson fires a strike, showing off the arm strength and the accuracy to Jawan Johnson from Glassboro, New Jersey. He'll play at Penn State.
I really felt like the official visits are when I got a feel for the school, for the guys. You stay overnight, you get a chance to be around them. Nowadays, Anthony, all these guys commit before they ever even really get a chance to take official visits.
One of the things that the #1 recruit in the country, offensive tackle Martez Ivey, let us know is that he's now waiting for the at-home visits as well. He's seen some campuses, but once the coaches fumble on the play there. Looks like the West team recovered that. Asmar Bilal is headed to Notre Dame.
Linebacker out of Ben Davis High School in Indianapolis.
Once again, Scarlett not able to get the ball clean from Gibson. It's another East turnover.
Another declaration coming up. We did 5 in the first half. The first of the second half will be Ikeely Ross, a wide receiver from Riverside, California.
My name's Ikeely Ross. Watch me make my decision. Coming up next, live on NBC.
Lewis Johnson.
All right, well, 18-year-old Ikeely Ross, the wide receiver, is ready to put an end to all the stress of all the schools that have been after him to come and play. So he's here by his dad, Edwin Ross, who's on that side. His coach, Dennis Brown, is behind me. And in front of you, you finally have narrowed this down to 4 hats, Ikeely. So we have Arizona State, Notre Dame, Oregon, and USC. So where is the wide receiver going to play his college football? Where are you going?
First off, I would like to thank God, and I would like to thank my parents, everyone who's been there to support me through all the hard work and all the grinding, because we know it was a lot and it was a stressful time, but it's great. And for the next 3 years, I'll be attending the University of Southern California.
Southern California. How about that? And so after all of the schools coming after you, why did you choose SC?
It was just comfortable for me. I just loved everything about it. It's a family school, and at the same time, it's somewhere where I wanted to be, and it's just great, and I'm ready to go.
And quickly, you play wide receiver and the other side of the ball. What are you going to play there?
I'll probably be playing safety a lot, but going both ways. And I'm just ready to get going. Trojan life forever. And I would like to make a shout out to one of my close friends, Cody Smith, who just passed away of cancer. Thank you. Look over me all day, baby, as an angel. And I love you with everything. Merry Christmas, Coach V.
All right. Thank you so much, Ikeely. And if you're wondering about that name, it means warrior in Swahili. And he is the 8th person in his family named Ikeely. Paul?
Lewis, thank you. We all noticed up here in the booth he's only going to stay at SC for 3 years.
Apparently so.
Going to come out early.
He should have eligibility remaining after 3 years unless the rules have changed as of late. But we do know the skill position talent that not only Steve Sarkisian but just of coaches have gotten there at Southern Cal over the years. And Akili Ross, just the latest. You look at last season, Adoree Jackson as a true freshman played wide receiver, started at defensive back, and Akili Ross says he's in that same mold, wants to be a guy that can go in and play early and look to Adoree Jackson as an example of what he feels like he can do, whether it was going to be at Southern Cal or anywhere else. A guy with big-time ability on both sides of the football, very shifty for a tall, slender frame, in and out of his cuts.
Ross, you mentioned just a moment ago about these players committing to schools and then taking official visits after that, and he is going to visit Arizona State on January 16th. This is Travis Waller showing you the moves you'll see when he's an Oregon Duck for the next 4 years.
That is the second vicious shot that Waller is taking. You'll see he didn't get the snap very cleanly, but he's got those long strides, that angular frame. Very similar to Marcus Mariota. I don't know if he's quite as fast as Mariota, but there's definitely a comparison there.
Moved from wide receiver to quarterback in the 5th game of his sophomore season. And there's Akili, future Trojan, and shared time there for the rest of his sophomore season. So really only been a full-time quarterback has Travis Waller for 2 seasons, and got quite a dual threat. You saw him rush for 23 yards there. Ran for over 2,100 yards as a junior and a senior to go along with 3,300 passing yards.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's check in with 24/7 Director of Scouting Barton Simmons.
Guys, here come the Trojans on the recruiting trail. Remember, Damian Mama, Juju Smith, Adoree Jackson, all uncommitted at this point in the process last year. This is the beginning of a strong close once again for the Trojans. They're up to number 6 in the 24/7 Sports rankings.
And this is Mike Weber out of Detroit, currently committed to Ohio State, was committed to Michigan. We'll see if Coach Harbaugh can get back in the mix there. And as for USC, remember they had the 4-year scholarship reduction in 2011, 12, and 13. They lost 30 scholarships, and now they're finally back on the other side of that penalty.
And I believe really just this past season is where they've gotten back to the point where they've got upwards of nearly 50 guys on scholarship who are actually contributing in the lineup on the field for the Trojans. And so depth and attrition turned into a problem for USC really over the last couple of seasons, getting through that Pac-12 slate. But I believe that now the Trojans are back at the point where they can be as deep and as talented as anyone.
8 commitments in this game, as you just saw. That is the most of any school. Just passed up Ohio State. Stuck on 7 are those Buckeyes. USC Trojans. Victory in the Holiday Bowl, and also 8 victories here in this game, as in 8 commitments. The most recent right there, the wide receiver from Riverside, California, Akili Ross, going to be a Trojan.
My name is Ricky Town. My name is Jacob Daniel, and I'm committed to the University of Southern California. You be right here. Oh. Fight on.
Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome. 33-9, the West squad on top of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Mike Weber, running back, looked like he wanted to throw, and he does throw late. Might have been out of bounds. Well, he got rid of it just before he got out of bounds.
Looked to me like he was maybe 5 yards out of bounds, but could be the angle I was watching from. I agree. He was certainly hoping to attempt a pass there.
If he wasn't going to throw that, he really needs to learn to get up north and south, because he went wide, real wide on that sweep left.
Well, Mike Weber was committed to Michigan, as I said, now committed to Ohio State, but Jim Harbaugh trying to get back in. And Barton Simmons, why don't you come on back in? It's only been a few days, but what kind of job has Jim Harbaugh been doing so far?
Well, right now he's really been getting on the phones, working these prospects, getting back in their ear. It's going to be a smaller class for Michigan this year. But Jim Harbaugh, really his job is going to be developing these guys at the next level. Michigan has no shortage of talent. The number 4 class on 24/7 Sports just 2 years ago.
And right now, are they even in the top 100? As I see that they've lost 8 high-level recruits in that area with the uncertainty at the coaching position the last month.
They are now 90th in the country in recruiting rankings. So it's a long way to go right now. But again, it's going to be a lower ranked class just because it's going to be smaller. I think next year is where you're going to really see the Harbaugh effect on the recruiting trail.
I think you combine the history and the tradition of Michigan with Jim Harbaugh there. And I would expect him to make a strong push here coming down the stretch. And as he just mentioned, we'll see how high they can set the bar there coming up next year. One more declaration, actually 3 more declarations coming up throughout the third and the fourth quarter. And Tim Irvin, running back out of Palmetto Bay, Florida, the nephew of Hall of Famer Michael Irvin, will have his declaration next.
Don't touch that dial. Watch me make my college decision live on NBC.
Michael Irvin, you see him here as a Dallas Cowboy, made his way to the Pro Football Hall of Fame after 3 Super Bowl titles, but it started at the U, one of the most decorated players ever to come from the University of Miami. For more on the Irvin family, here's Marty Snyder.
And it is now time for his nephew Tim to declare where he's going to go to college. You know, Uncle Michael's really been low-key in this whole process. He told Tim, go wherever you want, but go with your heart, no matter what. Dad, Tim, is here. Mom, Sharmika, is over there. A lot of hats on the table, and you told us you truly did not know yesterday where you were going to go. We're down to Auburn, Florida, Miami, Texas, and West Virginia. Tim, where are you going to go?
I want to thank God for this humbling opportunity He gave me, but during the process, it's been tough. I've been great doing with my family and stuff, but for the next 3 to 4 years, I will be attending the University of Texas.
The University of Texas, and we talked about Charlie Strong and how well he has done in South Florida. So many of you guys went to the same recruiting visit during the West Virginia game. How key was that? And now 4 of you deciding to go to college at Texas.
It was a big humbling opportunity. When us guys went up there on our official visit, we told each other we're going to stick together and we're going to build a Florida bond.
How about that pipeline, Paul? Charlie Strong gets 4 huge commitments from South Florida kids.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Marty. And actually, I checked that pipeline. I looked at the Texas roster, guys. Only 3 from Florida right now on that roster. And just in the last 2.5 hours, 2 commits from Florida going to Texas.
It's a totally different game plan than what Mack Brown had, Paul. You know, he almost exclusively recruited the state of Texas, had open door policy with Texas high school coaches. Charlie Strong is going out of state to bring in guys like Tim Irvin, who thought when he came here this week he'd be playing running back. You can see what he does as a receiver as well. They moved him early this week to safety, and his defensive back coach Mike Rump told me he's become one of the best guys this week, actually captain of the defense for the East Squad.
And the East Squad picking up a first down and then some. That's Deion Kane, wide receiver out of Tampa, Florida, going to play at Clemson. Already has a touchdown pass here today and showing off the receiving skills, even though he only caught 6 balls in high school.
I don't know how that happens. I don't know how he goes on the camp circuit. He's a quarterback, and nobody can cover him in any of the elite camps he went to this summer. Even this week, you just look at how silky smooth he is. Nobody is able to slow this guy down, and you got to think the sky's the limit once he actually focuses on that position.
Football is out once again. Jordan Cronkite couldn't hang on to it, and that's Ben Humphries. Already has the touchdown this afternoon. Now has the fumble recovery.
At the outside linebacker position, Ben Humphries making plays like nobody's business today in the game.
Ben Humphries on his way to Duke, making plays here this afternoon. If you recognize the last name Hodge, thinking about football, that's for a good reason. Merrill Hodge is the uncle of Tristan Hodge from Pocatello, Idaho, the Gatorade Player of the Year in Idaho. Going to be an offensive lineman at Notre Dame for the next 4 years. West Squad back with the football. Derek Dillon, Florida-bound wide receiver, already has a touchdown this afternoon around the left side there on a little jet reverse.
Just got to look at part of the skill set of Tristan Hodge as a center, able to snap the football into the shotgun formation and then pull out in space to help get the corner for Derek Dillon. We don't see that as much a part of the Notre Dame offense. But Tristan Hodge, a guy who's nimble enough, but still a big enough frame where he wouldn't be stuck at center. I think he can play any 3 of the interior positions for the Irish.
Quarterback for the West squad, the starting quarterback for the West team, Brady White from Santa Clarita, California, going to play at Arizona State. And fires that one short. The man he was looking for, number 17, Trent Irwin from the same high school, and he's actually California's all-time leading receiver with receptions at 285 and also receiving yards at over 5,200. He's narrowed his choices down to Stanford and Arizona State. And Brady White said big priority for him in the next week and a half before he goes to Tempe to enroll early is to get his favorite wide receiver to come with him.
Pretty crazy that they've been best friends and playing together since 7th grade, and you can see the decision is really weighing on Trent. You know, on the one hand, with Stanford, you have that academic reputation. At Arizona State, you talked about the number of footballs he would get there, and obviously being able to play with his friend Brady.
And there's Trent Irwin going right down, and Brady said he's really starting to sell it hard. You said 2 things I'm selling to Trent to try and come with me to Arizona State. He said, number 1, as you guys have talked about, we've been a deadly combo the last 6 years. No reason why we can't continue that on the next level. And he said, number 2, as a friend, it's going to be tough in college early for both of us. We may as well go through those growing pains. Let's go through them together. Let's be there for each other during that freshman season and beyond. Blake Johnson punting. Blake going to punt at the University of Arkansas for the next 4 seasons. Irwin and White, deadly combination in high school in California. We'll see if they end up together at Arizona State.
We've been friends ever since 6th or 7th grade. That's when I first met him and got to play football with him, and since then we've been best buds.
Football is a big game of trust, and just always having someone's back and just knowing what he's going to do and how he's going to play football.
Obviously we came in as individuals, but now this is a unit, and we're looking out for each other's best interests, and we want to go out and put on a show, let everyone show off their skills.
Quarterback Brady White going to be a Sun Devil for sure. And Trent either going to go to Stanford or with him to Arizona State. Another quarterback from Southern California, that's Sam Darnold. Sam on his way to USC.
There's an injury there. You don't like seeing that. That's Matthew Burrell. Big number 50 from Woodbridge, Virginia, going to Ohio State. Obviously the last thing you ever want, especially in an all-star game.
One of 7 Ohio State commits playing in this game. Second only to USC. The Trojans now have 8 after a couple of in-game declarations here this afternoon.
Buckeyes, of course, coming off a huge effort, working their way into the college football national championship game the other night. So here the ability for Darnold to move the pocket, seen as a dual threat guy, 6'4", 210 pounds, as he works his way outside. Difficult to see what happened with Matthew Burrell on that snap.
Yeah, it looked like one of the other offensive linemen for the East landed on that ankle of his. He is a big, thick kid, weighs about 315 pounds already, which is why I would anticipate, just with his body type, him moving into guard for the Buckeyes.
Says Burrell actually committed right now to Ohio State. Good to see him standing up. We're going to take a break. We'll get you back inside the Alamo Dome right after this. Left in the third quarter here in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. West team easily in control, 36-9. Quarterback Sam Darnold, the Orange County Register Player of the Year in Southern California, on his way to USC.
And he got that out in the flat to one of my favorite players in this game, Chandler Cox, number 11, who's going to Auburn from Apopka, Florida. was a quarterback at Apopka, led them to the 8A state championship in the state of Florida. He's going to Auburn to play fullback, H-back. Actually reminds me of former teammate of mine, Heath Evans.
And he, of course, the teammate of the nation's #1 recruit, Martez Ivey. Ivey has yet to declare. Got it narrowed down to his last few choices, and a lot of folks assuming that Martez Ivey would follow Cox to Auburn, but he says that's not his plan. He's not going to follow him. Wants to make sure he plays out this entire process, as he talked to Marty Snyder about earlier in the show. And I respect that. I wasn't committed yet at this point. You know, had a certain number of offers, and you know, coaches even coming to basketball practice, watching you in person. I mean, there's some fun things about the experience, but the maturity and really to be in the position as a recruit where schools won't try to force you.
Offside, defense, number 89. That's a 5-yard penalty, which results in a first down.
As you referenced that a bit earlier, Ross, we've gotten to the point now where schools are sort of pressuring kids and almost forcing kids to commit very early in the process. That, I believe, is a big part of why we see commitments take place, officials, verbals, but then kids still take more visits after that because they've sort of been pressured into it by schools. There's a balance to how this should work.
Little rash of penalty flags here at the end of the third quarter.
Snap, false start, offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And now with Burrell being out of the lineup, that of course switches the lineup in the depth chart for the offensive front from the East squad. People playing a bit out of position.
Quarterback Sam Darnold missed the final 7 games of his junior season. And really his stock took off with the performance at spring and summer camps. Did very well at the Elite 11 camp, where he was, by the way, roommates with his future teammate at USC, Ricky Town, also going to play quarterback for the Trojans. As we have come to an end here at the third quarter, with the West squad on top 36-9. Not just about the scoreboard here inside the Alamo Dome for the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Also, maybe even more so about the intentions. 2 more left, including Marvell Tell. He'll kick off the fourth quarter after this.
My name is Marvell Tell, defensive back, and I'm from Pasadena, California. Stay tuned, because up next, one of these 3 schools will get one of the top DBs in the country.
That's Marvell Tell, defensive back out of Crespi High School in Los Angeles. He's with our Lewis Johnson, ready to let us know where he's going to college.
Yeah, you see him scratching his head because this is the big moment, a game he's eyed since he was in middle school. Marvell's already had 2 tackles on the day, so a successful afternoon. His dad here, Marvell Tell Jr., his mom, Kimberly Damio, is here, as well as other friends and family. And so after all the pressure, all the years of waiting, you've been here, you played the game, and now we've got it down to 3 hats, Marvell. This is the moment. So Oregon, Texas A&M, USC. Why don't you tell America where you're going to play your college football?
Man, for the next 4 years, I'll be at the University of Southern California.
USC, the Trojans pick up another one. And there's your new teammate. He's excited about it. There's Akili Ross. He's excited about that. So tell me why USC?
Man, it's where I feel like I fit, you know, for the next 4 years. I'll be happy, feel like I can be successful, and you know we're going to bring that national championship back.
Exactly. I know you want to study kinesiology, but I thought it was most interesting when you told us that you've been watching this game since the 8th grade, so did it live up to what you expected?
Oh, yeah, I had a great time this week, meeting new people, playing with, you know, the best in the nation. It was awesome.
All right. Congratulations to you and the family. Good luck at USC. All right, Paul.
And Marvell also visited Oregon, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, but selects the Trojans to put them, I believe, at 9 commits from this game alone.
It's impressive. When you think about where that program came from with the available scholarships, the sanctions that we were referencing a little while ago, but at USC, Brandon, now getting back to having success on the field, still carries plenty of weight.
And Sam Darnold, another USC commit, playing quarterback, firing to TJ Romming. He's out of Powder Springs, Georgia. He'll play his college football at Duke.
Tell's body type actually reminds me of Akili Ross. I mean, these guys are both 6'2½", pretty lean. Ross came here thinking he'd play defensive back. When they gave him number 87, he said, okay, I guess I'm playing wide receiver this week. But they both can play corner or safety. at USC. To get that kind of length and athleticism on the back end is huge.
Sam Darnold, the quarterback, huge senior season, school records for passing yards, touchdowns, and completions. And I don't know if he'll ever have a receiver that open in college at USC. TJ Rahming on his way to Duke and easily into the end zone. 63 yards out.
Rahming told me he weighs a little over 150 pounds. You'll see him to the right. He's in the slot. He looks like he's going to block and totally fakes out the West defense. They fake the wide receiver screen. Rahming keeps going right down the seam. That's a good job by Darnold and company faking out the West defense. Rahming knows what to do with it once the ball's in his hands.
Stars aligning for David Cutcliffe. We've seen defensive playmakers like Ben Humphries. Now on the offensive side of the football, TJ Rahming. Duke Blue Devils. Who would have thunk it? We've been doing this game for a while, guys. You very rarely, if ever, see Duke players in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
And it's interesting that you say that because Darnold told me yesterday he really strongly considered Duke and the opportunity to be coached by David Cutcliffe. In the end, he just felt like it was too far away. But Darnold could have been a Duke Blue Devil himself.
And he said in the end he just couldn't leave Southern California, Ross. He, in fact, said he wished USC standard for University of San Clemente, which is where he's from, which is only an hour away from Los Angeles. Fighting to keep alive and showing you the arm strength coming back across the field. He might have a coach or two tell him not to make that ball, but that was impressive velocity throwing it all the way back there.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold touchdown toss to future Duke Blue Devil TJ Rahming. 10:35 left in the fourth quarter. West lead cut to 36-15. Last week as the Alamo Bowl took place last night, UCLA and Kansas State. And as you can see, 90 of the best high school seniors here all week getting ready for the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Culminating with the game today and with the West squad getting it done on offense and defense, leading 36-15. I'd say a huge afternoon for the USC Trojans. Not only 9 commitments now, but they have 2 quarterbacks in the game, Sam Darnold and also Ricky Town. Both have thrown touchdown passes. And the East squad now recovers an onside kick. Trailing only by 21 points. And if the bowl games taught us anything the last couple of days, a 21-point lead is not safe this weekend.
By rules of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, it's the fourth quarter. The East squad is trailing, so they are allowed to attempt onside kicks. Really well executed there, too.
Yeah, you got that nice second hop, which is exactly what you're looking for. And it falls right into the hands of Chandler Cox, who's going all over.
Give some credit there to Rodrigo Blankenship. Well executed kick.
We'll see who comes in at quarterback here for the East squad. I believe that's going to be Drew Lock. Out of Lee's Summit, Missouri, going to make the 2-hour and 15-minute drive to Columbia to play his college football for Gary Pinkel.
Timeout. Call before the play by Webb.
All right, well, the players meet on the sideline, talk it over with their coaches. Let's check in with Marty Snyder on the sideline.
Well, Sam Darnold is the young man who got the last touchdown, 6-3 yards on the pass. And let's talk about what you saw as the play developed, Sam.
I really just saw, first of all, it was a good snap. We didn't get any of those in practice, but yeah, I got outside rush, so I kind of stepped up, and it was a key G, which means it was a fake the bubble, which throws it off, and then we just scored, and he was wide open. Just tried to put it on him, tried not to overthrow him.
How frustrating has this game been from the East sideline perspective?
Yeah, just not really the outing we were looking for, but you know, it's been a great game so far, really competitive, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back out there. But if not, just wish my guys the best. So.
And Paul, as you mentioned, he only hopes he can have receivers that wide open next year at USC, right?
Might not ever happen. Maybe in summer 7-on-7 sessions. That's number 5, Porter Gustin, already with a touchdown for the West Side with a pick 6. Porter up with the sack there on Drew Lock.
And Porter Gustin has not made his decision yet, but is said to be a heavy lean towards USC himself. So the Trojans absolutely cleaning up.
USC, Arizona State still in the mix for Porter Gustin as well.
And sprinting free, that's Jason Lewis, going to go from Virginia Beach, Virginia, his hometown, to play in Tempe at Arizona State.
Ross, you were talking about Arizona State being more on the national recruiting map, and really the University of Arizona as well. Both of the major universities in that state, with the success that programs have had on the field, especially this past season, both being in the top 10 at different points coming out of the Pac-12 conference. You see why recruits now more interested. Some energetic head coaches, Rich Rodriguez for Arizona and Todd Graham for Arizona State.
This ball is going to eventually get back to Drew Lock and make it back across the other side of the field. And this is T.J. Rahman into the end zone again.
Perhaps the craziest play I've seen in my history.
Yeah, I'm going to let you describe this one. It's a reverse flip back, throwback. I don't know how you do this with 1 week of practice. Nice job by Nico Fertitta, identifying it, almost making the tackle. And look at the block right there by Chandler Cox as Rahman is in again, and we got a ball game.
Really had both teammates from Apopka there leading the way. Martez Ivy, Chandler Cox, both guys out in space, making sure he could get into the end zone.
Think about the limited practice time you have in an all-star game. They probably ran that 2 or 3 times during the week maybe to get that down?
Tops. We're just trying to work on positions, alignment. When do you have time to work on the triple reverse pass?
But T.J. Rahman with a touchdown reception moments ago from Sam Darnold. They recovered the onside kick. The trickiest trick play we've seen, certainly in this game, if not in any kind of football game, goes for a touchdown again to Rahman, and we have ourselves a 36-21 game.
You said it, Paul. This is what the bowl games have become this part of the year.
Lots of football left to be played, and also, by the way, one more declaration. We're at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl inside the Alamo Dome. More action and declarations right after this. That is DeAndre Walker, defensive end from Fairburn, Georgia. He is all ready to tell us where he will play his college football. And that's coming up in moments. The East team coming on strong, led by T.J. Rahman. A couple of touches on the last 2 possessions, both going for touchdowns. Here comes another onside kick. And this time the West squad pounces on it. That's Marvell Tell. Let's check in again with Marty Snyder.
Well, I found Drew Lock and T.J. Rahman, and I didn't know there was dirt on the field where you could draw up plays like that. So tell us, is there an official name for that play?
It's called Mayhem, believe it or not. I think it fits it perfectly.
All right, take us through what's going on.
No, so we pitch it to him, or I hand it off to him, then he runs back, pitches it to me. I was a little scared, not gonna lie. I didn't know if they were gonna just stand there, being it's like the end of the game, you know, they're getting tired. So I was thinking there might be guys in my face, but then I threw it to this man right here, and I knew he was gonna get done.
TJ, there was just a sea of black in front of you, blocking for you.
Yeah, it's always good when you can run the open field and have black in front of you.
We tried to get you on the last one, but you're too busy on the kickoff team. You've been a busy guy lately.
Yeah, I try to get it done.
All right, go get some more trick plays. That's what we want to see, guys. Exactly right. So there is a name for it. It's called Mayhem. I think it fits it, Paul.
Just gave the ball right back. Coming up with the interception there for the East team, that is Tavares McFadden from Plantation, Florida, on his way to Tallahassee to play for the Seminoles.
It didn't really look like that ball came out of Ricky Towns' hand right. I mean, that was a lob. Went almost straight up in the air, nowhere near its intended target. Must have slipped out of his hand. And McFadden at a solid 6'2", was the tallest guy back there to be able to go up and get it.
Town was under pretty big duress from Eli Brown as he tried to deliver the football. That led to the errant throw.
Well, the man who was hot offensively for the East squad is Ricky Town. Going to be on the sidelines and think about that one. Is number 21, T.J. Rahman. 2 touchdowns in this quarter, 2 receptions for 65 yards. And looking deep, and that's Deon Cain. Another East touchdown.
Just a deep post from Locke to Cain, and Cain had him beat right away. I'm actually a little surprised Locke waited that long to throw it, because Cain ran that post right by his defender.
And out of anything, when you look at the film of Drew Locke, from his offense in high school, he throws a really pretty deep ball, a nice high arc to it. The trajectory always seems to drop right down in the hands of the intended receiver.
Deon Cain with a touchdown toss in the first half, a touchdown reception here in the second. And look at the East team coming back with 3 consecutive touchdowns. And it's 36-29. We have a 1-touchdown game. We have 1 declaration left to go. That belongs to DeAndre Walker. He'll take care of that right after the break.
Hey America, my name is DeAndre Walker, and I'll be making my decision live on NBC. Watch and see.
Our final declaration going to belong to DeAndre Walker, defensive end from Fairburn, Georgia, going to stay in the SEC, and he's smiling. He knows which school he's going to. He's going to let us know right after the kick. And what a fourth quarter for the East team. 3 touchdowns, recovered an onside kick. They got it all going, trailing only 36-29, and plenty of ball game left. 5:45 to play.
They've been saving everything in their tank for this fourth period, and it's paying off so far.
Another onside kick, and that one easily recovered by Gustin for the West Side. Let's check in now with Marty.
Well, DeAndre Walker has been described as unblockable on the defensive line. He actually narrowed his choices on an Elf Yourself video, which has over 100,000 views on YouTube. We are down to Georgia, we're down to Auburn, and Tennessee. Where are you going to take your talents?
I would like to thank the Army for this wonderful experience, and then secondly, I would like to thank God for blessing me with this wonderful talent, and then of course my family and the people back home supporting me. And for the next 4 years, I will be furthering my education at the University of Georgia.
He brings out Uga. He'll put on the Georgia hat as well. Congratulations. And the family has the shirts on as well. Was it a decision to stay at home or what?
Yes, sir. I mean, because the reason why I picked the University of Georgia, because I can learn a lot there going in, and the education there is amazing.
And he stays close to home, which makes Mama very happy as well. How about Mark Richt? He picks up a win in the Belk Bowl, and now he gets a huge commitment here this afternoon.
And DeAndre telling us, Marty, yesterday that a big reason he wanted to go there was the type of defensive end he could play. He wouldn't just have the hand on the ground rushing. He's going to play outside linebacker where he can drop and get that skill as well, in addition to rushing the passer.
We've seen talent going to the National Football League after rushing the passer for the Georgia Bulldogs, and they've got that hybrid style available to them. Guys out of the 2-point stance, coming off the edge, using pass rush mechanics, and that's where part of the growth will come for DeAndre Walker. No real pass rush moves to speak of, but they call him the animal for a reason, because of the ferocity that he tends to rush the quarterback with. So he plays with all kinds of motor, and I think once he gets to Georgia, gets there to Athens, he's got a coaching staff there that knows how to use his abilities.
And that coaching staff has a lot of talent on this field here today. That puts them at 7 commits, tied with Ohio State, and a couple behind the Trojans of USC, who are right now at 9.
I like the frame of DeAndre Walker as well. He's really only weighing it. We had him listed at 212, 215. He said he's really down even maybe under 210 pounds right now, but he's got a frame where when you look at him, you can tell between the shoulders, the thighs, he's got the ability to put weight on. Barton Simmons, how do you see DeAndre Walker?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, he's a kid that's just so athletic right now, but he weighed in at 6'2½", about 209 pounds when we measured him and he got into the Army Bowl. And this is a kid we've heard compared inside the Georgia halls to Leonard Little. That's the kind of upside he has as he gains weight, and I think, as you guys alluded to, he gets in the perfect situation as a 3-4 outside linebacker for Georgia. This commitment, by the way, moves them up to number 3 in the country in the 24/7 Sports rankings.
Wow.
All right, the West team finds itself in a unique position, at least for them the second half. That's in a ball game. Going to have to pick up some first downs and keep the ball away from the East side. And that's how you hang on to the football. That's Mike Weber. You see why, even though he's committed to Ohio State, Jim Harbaugh wants back in on that one. Gain of 19.
That was as physical of a run as we've seen today. The power that Weber possesses in his lower body. Wow.
Decommitted from Michigan in November because of the uncertainty of the coaching staff, and committed to Ohio State December 10th. Still committed to the Buckeyes, but with that young man and see what he can do. There's Weber again. Down to the 10-yard line. Cut it back outside there. Runner out of Cass Tech in Detroit showing off his talents. Check in on the sideline with Lewis Johnson.
Yeah, look who I found. Marcus Allen, Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner here. Your coaching debut. How's it going here late in this game?
As expected. No, seriously, I'm having a great time. This is, I want to thank the Army for inviting me. I've had a wonderful time with these kids. It's been great. I actually like coaching. I didn't think I'd like it. It's been fun. Yeah.
You know, I was talking with Darius Geist, the young man who was going to LSU as a running back. He has 2 touchdowns so far. He told me a few moments ago that you have been in his ear the last couple of days, kind of giving him some wisdom. What have you been sharing with him?
Well, first of all, he's a good kid, and I think he's a great athlete. Just trying to give him perspective, you know. Take advantage of this opportunity. There's so many men and women out here providing an opportunity for us to do the things that we do, you know, enjoy the day, build friendships and stuff. But when you're on the field, between those white lines, take it seriously. This may be your future.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure it was a little wake-up call when you looked down and you saw Khalil McKenzie, the son of one of your former teammates from Oakland, Reggie McKenzie.
Absolutely. It was like, I mean, man, he is massive, too.
Unbelievable.
And then I also, a friend of mine, Chris Warren, his son is playing as well. Right. So, I mean, it's great to see. I met him when he was a little kid. I went by Chris's house and saw him, and now, I mean, he's bigger than me. So it's great to see.
Marcus, great to see you.
Thanks, Lewis. I appreciate it.
All right, Paul.
All right, we just saw Chris Warren with the play-action fake go into the middle, the running back that Marcus was talking about. And the kids of his former teammates and competitors may make Marcus Allen feel old, but he certainly doesn't look old at all, does he?
No.
Wow.
I mean, Rod Woodson at least has the salt and pepper going with a little beard there, so you can see maybe he's a little older, but I guess you get the sense physically for why those guys are Hall of Famers.
2:12 and counting here in the fourth quarter, and the West squad looking to make it a 2-possession lead. And Kevin Robledo out of Westlake High School in Westlake Village, California. And that is ugly, but hey, it's 3 points.
I think they tipped it. I think somebody might have got a hand on it at the line of scrimmage, and it went in anyway.
I met the mother of Kevin Robledo in the elevator just yesterday, and she said that Kevin was a bit nervous, not really about being on national television so much, but just wanting to execute properly in this all-star environment. Like you said, the kick wasn't exactly executed the way he would have liked, but it counts just the same.
As my dad always told me with baseball, they all look like line drives in the scoreboard. All the same, and the important thing for the West team, they're up now 10 points, 2-possession lead with 1:54 left. And we'll see if that one was tipped there at the line. I think it was. And 39 for the East team, getting his hand on it there. That's DeAndre Walker.
Like clockwork. Every time there's a declaration, someone makes a big play. I might declare. I wonder if I can get down to the field, if Marty or Lewis might be available. See if I can make a play before this game is over.
See if any of those offers are still good. I think, Anthony, if I remember this right, when you were talking to Iowa, you eventually went to Iowa, but it was Michigan State second, and wasn't Nick Saban the coach there?
Nick Saban was the coach at Michigan State. Had a good bond with Brett Bielema. He was the coach that recruited me at Iowa, and of course Hayden Fry being the head coach at that time carried a lot of weight for me.
And the East squad not done yet. Tavares McFadden. Touchdown. Going to play at Florida State in the fall, but right now keeping the East team close.
A lot of times these guys aren't used to playing special teams, don't stay on your lanes, but an excellent individual effort by McFadden. Then he takes it to the house at the end. He's going to play defense at Florida State, but he's done a really nice job with the ball in his hands today on these returns.
Got the frame of a corner, sort of the modern cornerback at 6'3". Good long strider, but very fluid with his hip turn as he comes out of his speed turn.
Well, if only they had talents there at American Heritage High School in Plantation. Their quarterback, a young man named Torrance Gibson, on his way to play at Ohio State. You can see why they won back-to-back state titles there in Florida. $1:40 left, and it's back to a... This is actually the closest it's been now. It was just 10 points a moment ago. And now it's a field goal game. West on top 39-36. All right, Barton Simmons, the director of scouting for 24/7 Sports. Enough about these seniors. Let's talk about some younger kids. I guess they're already in town too.
They are, yeah. This roster is already being built for the 2016 game. Seems like a long way away, but it'll be here before you know it. Shevar Manuel, Julian Rochester. He's actually the teammate of several players we're seeing tonight, like Chuma Edoga and TJ Roming. And then on down the list, you can see already well-filled out roster. Marquez Callaway out of the state of Georgia, Felipe Franks and Shea Patterson, both quarterbacks out of Louisiana. So really an outstanding roster coming up for the 2016 game as well.
Those guys have already committed to next year's game, so we look forward to seeing them the first Saturday in January.
All right, back on Paul, you and I have gotten to experience the FBU part of this, Football University, where now Army All-American games, they've even got the Army influence at the youth level, working with young athletes and running the combine down in Naples, Florida, and the combine for the high school kids this week as well. We referenced earlier Khalil McKenzie, his brother Jalen, in the combine just yesterday as well. Sophomore in high school, Jalen McKenzie, already 6'5", 280 pounds, even bigger than his older brother.
East squad has already recovered one onside kick in the second half. Didn't go 10 yards.
And look who it is. Martez Ivy, the #1 recruit in the country, offensive lineman, running the 10 yards and grabbing that ball there.
And that's awfully close if that was at 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 when he touched that. No replay. So we have discussion instead.
It might be a bit anticlimactic if they rule it didn't go 10 yards.
Give it to him.
Yeah, why not? It's the Army All-American Bowl. You got the #1 recruit in the nation making plays on the field, but not as an offensive tackle and pass protection, showing the hands.
Maybe they're saying that down there. This is an all-star game. This is exciting. Let them have it.
I'm certainly excited. Better wake up, Ross Tucker.
On the kicking team. Receiving team elects to take the ball at the spot of the touch. First down.
Of different thinking than us in the booth. Let's take a look here and see if it went 10 yards.
Did Ross Tucker, as an offensive lineman, ever recover an onside kick?
Yeah, it didn't go 10 yards. It was close, though. I say give it to him. I was never on the kick team.
Yeah.
9.5. Let's round up.
Think about how athletic he is, though, as a left tackle to be running down there. He was stride for stride with anybody.
I would rival him as guys played in this game in recent years. Laramie Tunsil, who's now with Ole Miss, one of the top offensive tackles in the nation. Martez Ivy, that same level of ability. I think physically, maybe even slightly more gifted.
East squad not giving up on defense. Big hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Trenton Thompson, the guy that absolutely dominated the entire week of practice. 315 pounds going to Georgia from Albany, Georgia. They said he was unblockable this week.
Perhaps the most phenomenal high school defensive line film I've ever seen. I mean, he just plays with so much aggression, penetrates into the backfield, and when he gets there, he lays heavy on people.
Good afternoon for the Georgia Bulldogs. DeAndre Walker was our final declaration. That put the Bulldogs at 7. Classy declaration, too, with the stuffed Bulldog and the family of the T-shirts.
Think about some of these defensive lines we're going to see in the SEC. You've got McKenzie and Phillips going to Tennessee. You've got Walker and Trenton Thompson going to Georgia. There's a reason why the SEC has had as much success as they have recently in college football, and a huge part of it is the dominant defensive lines. Looks like that trend is going to continue.
This is Mike Weber around the left side, and I would imagine his coaches don't want him to run out of bounds, but he did anyway. Stopping the clock. West team up by 3, 1:28 left.
This is what they call 4-minute offense. I wonder how much they actually practice that this week. You only have 1 week to get ready. 4-minute offense when you have a lead and you're trying to do whatever you can to run the clock out.
Well, the East team somehow found a way to practice mayhem. So maybe the West worked in 4-minute offense. It would be a tall order, though.
Ross, you mentioned the defensive lines, the front seven of the SEC getting stronger based off of what we've seen here today. Can say the same thing about the Buckeye run game. If you watched the game 2 nights ago, they ran for 281 against the Crimson Tide. You've seen the talent of Mike Weber here all afternoon if he remains an Ohio State Buckeye.
5-yard penalty. Third down.
Ohio State finishing in the top 10 in rushing offense at number 9. And 1 game left to go.
And that man who had the 230 yards himself the other night, Ezekiel Elliott, he was right on this field just 2 short seasons ago in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
Up the middle, putting that head down, his signature finish to his runs we have seen here in the 4th quarter from Mike Weber.
Wow. I would want no part of that young man right there at all. He runs angry.
He's wearing the same number 21 jersey that Royce Freeman, who ended up going to Oregon and, of course, will be in the College Football National Championship game next Monday. Freeman wore 21 here last year. Similar running styles. I would say Weber not quite as big as Freeman. You know, Royce Freeman at this point nearly 230 pounds. But Weber at nearly 210, 5'10", but he's got very thick thighs, really built low to the ground, runs with a lot of power.
You mentioned Freeman, and we had a tailback in this game 2 years ago, also performing pretty well in that Oregon backfield, and Thomas Tyner. Added a couple of touchdowns in the big-time Rose Bowl win over Florida State. Went along pretty well with Freeman's 2 touchdowns. Let's go down to the sideline. Time now for MVP discussion with Lewis Johnson.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. We're about to present this beautiful trophy. The Pete Dawkins Game MVP is about to go to this young man standing to my right. Let me introduce General Daniel B. Allen, who is with us, as well as the Honorable Deborah S. Water, here to make the presentation. General, go right ahead.
Well, Darius, on behalf of the United States Army, we congratulate you on your exemplary performance. Thanks for representing the dedication, commitment, and teamwork that exemplifies the best of the United States Army. So, proud of you.
Darius, what does it mean to hold this beautiful trophy at the end of a long week and a great game for you?
It really just complements my season and my gameplay. I really thank the Army for giving me this opportunity to play in this elite event. And I just want to thank everybody that supported me through everything. And I just want to thank God for giving me the opportunity and blessing me with the skills to be here.
And so after your 2 touchdowns, you head back to campus. You'll be a few blocks away from your future home of LSU. What does it mean now to have that part of your life sewn up and you're ready to play college football?
I mean, it means a lot. I'm always there. I love the coaches. We have a close relationship. They love my parents, and I love them. And it just feels like another home. It's like I said, it's right around the corner. It's just a second home for me, and I can't wait to ball for them.
Well, congratulations. You've got something to remind you of your great week here with the U.S. Army. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All righty, Paul.
Darius, guys, 2-minute drive to campus, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, and 1 MVP trophy. Meanwhile, we have a great finish coming. 36 seconds left. The West team on top only by 3. And running the show at quarterback for the East team, Torrance Gibson, before he goes up to Columbus to play at Ohio State. Chased out of the pocket, throws that one away. And that was Darren Kirkland Jr. out of Lawrence Central High School in Indianapolis, undecided. Chasing Gibson out of the pocket, 31 seconds remaining.
I'll tell you what, if Torrance Gibson can get to Columbus and improve his mechanics a bit as a passer, I mean, he's got as strong an arm. He's got a cannon as a lefty, as mobile as anyone. He reminds me of Terrell Pryor when he came out.
Gibson firing deep. There's that arm. And batted incomplete. He'll also find on campus there Cardell Jones, J.T. Barrett, Braxton Miller.
Maybe. We'll see if Braxton Miller. We'll see if Braxton Miller stays there. Nice coverage right there against Dillon. That's a terrific job by Dante Jackson.
Not a doubt in my mind that Torrance Gibson, from here inside his own 40, can easily throw the football. If we come down to a Hail Mary scenario, he can get it down to the paint with no problem.
Gibson sets up the screen. And now West defense there. to say, no, you don't.
What
Osa Messina.
Yeah, Osa Messina, who he also is said to be leaning towards USC. His brother actually plays at Utah. Can you imagine if USC gets Messina and Gustin out of the state of Utah as well?
Would go along pretty well with the 9 commitments today from this game.
Between Messina and Gustin, especially with Porter Gustin, a guy who's graded out so high at all the combines he's been at. I got to talk to his dad, John, a bit yesterday. Mr. Porter Gustin is actually leading the state of Utah in basketball in scoring and rebounding. He's also a pitcher on the baseball team, throws over 90 miles an hour, and throws the javelin. Finished in the state tournament, first time he'd ever thrown javelin in his life last year, and actually placed in the state tournament as a javelin thrower. One of these guys that picks up anything he wants.
At halftime, the West team led 33-9. Huge fourth quarter for the East squad, led by Duke recruit TJ Rahming. Couple of touchdowns, and now it's only 39-36. Down to the final chance, though, is Torrance Gibson. Chased down to the pocket, and cannot escape the pressure. And making the final play for the West squad, Darren Kirkland Jr., undecided. Second time he's been in on the action on that last series. Goes to Lawrence Central High School in Indianapolis.
One of those 3 linebackers in the game from the state of Indiana. Kirkland making a play. The other 2, Barajas and Bilal, are going to Notre Dame. How about Indiana having 3 linebackers in one game? What a year for linebackers in the state of Indiana, evidently.
They're going to go join Jalen Smith, who ended up going to play for the Irish out of the state of Indiana as well. He was Mr. Football 2 seasons ago coming out of Indiana.
One of the best players we've seen here defensively in the last few years come through the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
But the drama for the kids on the field here, as crazy as this finish was, as exciting a game as we had, National Signing Day still weeks away. The drama for these kids who didn't declare today will continue.
Nice of 90 of the very best high school seniors in the nation to treat us to an exciting finish here in the fourth quarter as the East squad came roaring back. Trick plays, long touchdown passes, recovered onside kicks, interceptions. They provided it all in the final quarter, but not enough to overcome the West squad. They win 39-36.
That was absolutely awesome. This is what an All-American Bowl is supposed to be.
And that's going to do it for the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. The West team hangs on to win 39-36. Darius Geis going to be a running back at LSU. He's your MVP after 2 catches for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. Duke recruit at receiver TJ Rahming also added 2 touchdown receptions. Coming up next, it's U.S. ski and snowboarding, best in the world, and tonight, don't forget Wild Card Saturday is on NBC. The Steelers and the Ravens will clash. Bob Costas, Dan Patrick, your host. That begins at 7:30 Eastern. So long from the U.S. Army All-American Bowl in San Antonio.